Nah, no live.
What the fuck?
Yeah, it says an error
Okay,
occurred.
so we're live on YouTube. Oh my god, all of Twitter is down. Okay, so if
Twitter's
you're on
down.
YouTube,
Got
Yeah,
it.
I can't
Twitter is
stream.
just going down.
Yeah, me too.
It must not have the capabilities. All right, we're gonna run the.
What kind of fucking bullshit is like?
Dude, he does this every week.
The bad news is that civilization is crumbling around you.
Wear a dog mask, cut your dick off, bomb Palestine.
The good news is that you are not alone.
There's butthole shaving videos.
Feel bad for the minorities in LA for having to deal with the white people in LA.
You have 5 till midnight, live every Monday at 8 p.m. where you join 5 Limp Bizkit Americans to laugh at the absurd nonsense of the end of history.
Shit show right there.
Sam, stop it!
I think I like that more and more every week.
I love it.
I guess we're not live on Twitter.
No one is.
We're trying. Yeah. We're trying to get in, so bear with us for a little bit. I'll put a little thing down below that tells you on YouTube, if you're not watching this live, when to start, when the interview actually starts. But it's, as of right now, it looks like it's. I'm going to assume that it's too much traffic. Of course, you could take the conspiratorial angle and say that somebody is doing that on purpose, but it probably is just that Twitter is not used to this level of.
As much as I love the conspiracy, this is definitely because everyone's trying to fucking listen to this thing.
Although at the same time, if there's already high volume of users, it would be pretty easy for somebody to do a DDoS attack on, which is just like flooding the server with things. But yeah, it's not good.
Yeah.
So I'm
I didn't think. I thought this might happen, but they should have done it on Rumble and shit too. Like more avenues than just. I guess maybe it makes point. That makes sense why I wanted to just do X or Twitter or whatever. But like, still, now we can't listen to anything.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of weird. I mean, this happened with DeSantis too. Like,
Ew,
I know. I don't know why. But he announced his campaign on Twitter and it fucking crashed within they had to open up a whole new live stream. It wasn't even the original one.
I'm surprised they weren't prepared for this though. Honestly, like they should have known this was going to be a big deal.
Yeah.
Can I mention my favorite part of Trump coming back to Twitter? Every shit lib on Twitter is like, we hate that you're a loser. It's like you couldn't wait for him to come back to fucking do something, you loser shit lib piece of shit. I've been arguing with shit libs all day on Twitter. Well, I'm at the gym. I've been at the gym all day working, but I'm also like working out and shit. But I've been here for like 7 hours total, like working out. I just kept getting distracted talking to people.
Yeah, dude.
I'm sure you have been.
I feel like, all those reply guys over the years, like Trump reply guys that
right.
I don't know, I guess they make more money. They gained a following over the years just by constantly replying to him and like the defiant dad or whatever.
Oh, that guy. Dude, the amount of people I want to fucking head kick on Twitter is crazy. I want to head kick that loser.
Guy, you know that one?
Who?
No.
Lakota Man. He's one of those same generic reply guys. Yeah, he did broke the internet.
Broke the internet.
Yeah, there's this guy who goes by Lakota Man, and apparently I looked into it and it seems pretty legitimate. Like, he's not Lakota. Like, apparently he is native, but not Lakota. And then there's some weird stuff about it. And this guy's out here attacking. It's a whole thing. Not worth getting into the details on, but yeah, Lakota Man 1. Oh, I'm blocked. I'm blocked by him.
I gotta check now. Hold on.
Yeah, his tag is Lakota Man 1. I think probably he blocked me because I was commenting below the person who was exposing him. That's what I would do.
No, I'm not blocked by him, but I would love to be.
Well, I'm sure you could get it. And the thing is, he's actually indigenous. Like, he's legitimately Native American, just not Lakota. And there's he said a bunch of lies about it. I don't know. And
I don't give a shit.
When I say not Lakota, I mean, right. No, but that's my thing, you know.
What is Lakota? Where
Lakota is it's one of the
there's a north and south tribes.
They're one of the Sioux tribes.
Bad joke.
Sioux Native Americans.
Where are they at?
Where are they at?
In the Dakotas or around the Dakotas, I think.
Okay.
They were a nomadic people, so where their land isn't super set in stone. But
Gotcha.
where they are currently, I don't know. There could actually be more than one. The Lakota, also known as the Teton Sioux, I'm not sure, a Native American tribe that are part of the Sioux Confederacy. They are the largest of the three main Sioux subcultures, along with the Eastern Dakota, Western Dakota. Yeah, they were one of they were like one of the Comanches and oh, what is this? Y'all talking about the fat Indian
He's
starting
doing
shit
work.
with people about it above his stations on X? Yeah, probably.
I think I know who you're talking about now. I don't know why.
Yeah, he's pretty big.
Rex's fat Indian comment made me like.
I'm already gonna I'm gonna try to get blocked right now, but I'm gonna actively right now try to get blocked by this guy. He commented on that the boxer that's a kind of a dude or not a dude, whatever. He said incredibly happy for her in all caps. I'm gonna write, that's cool, you're for beating women.
Yeah, it's not working on Cozy's end either. Cozy, nice to see you. Cozy is one of my oldest mutuals back when I was a very small account. If it's the same Cozy from Twitter. And JC
probably
in the chat.
JC is the man. JC is the man.
I'm still trying to get it.
Is Twitter just down?
Like, I mean, at least the live stream's not working. The rest of Twitter seems to be working.
Okay. Did you guys see that Australian breakdancer at the Olympics?
Oh my god,
dude!
PhD in breakdancing.
Absolutely. First of all, that's not a real thing. That's a made-up thing. That's a made-up thing.
I understand that, but like, I'm using it as like, oh, you're an expert. Like, I'm using it to shit on archaeologists. So it's like, oh, look, an expert in this has a PhD.
Yeah, it was pretty cringy. I only watched like 30 seconds of the clip because I can't watch.
Very hard to look at.
I can't believe that was actually in the Olympics. I was like, why? Why is this even a thing?
All I know is this. I can't wait for 2028 Olympics. We are running flag football, and we are gonna fucking house everybody.
You're really doing flag football?
Yes, 2028, and all the pros are encouraged to play with the NFL. Joe Burrow said he wants to play. Pat Mahomes said he wants to play. Tyreek Hill said he wants to play.
Oh, dude. Gnarly, dude.
Yeah, so we're gonna fuck the world up.
Is like, at the Olympics, they have the option, each individual Olympics, to add like a few just like individual ones that they can run. So there's always some weird sports like breakdancing
competition
that comes up like that they can do. So I'm glad they're doing flag football. Where is the 2020
LA?
Olympics? That's why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude. Oh
yeah, we are gonna fucking house motherfuckers in flag football. It's gonna be crazy.
I might want to go see that.
Imagine some Swedish plumber trying to cover Tyreek Hill.
Dude, insane. The only countries that will have a chance are like Australia and Canada, and they're still gonna get housed.
It's because their football knowledge is so far behind. Like, we just grew up playing it, so we just know where like the ball's gonna go usually or whatever. It's like, look at all the rugby guys who come over. Dude, I don't know.
Canadians and Australians, they don't play rugby. They play like, there's Aussie rules football, which is like a mix of American football and rugby, and then Canadians play
a dumb version of football.
It's gridiron football, just like Australian footy is.
Yeah, we're still gonna fuck them up. It's not even close.
Oh yeah, 100%.
They can't throw the ball deep.
The Samoans might have a decent team. It would be awesome.
They're gonna be maybe, actually. You might be right. You might be right.
But what would be really cool is if American Samoa medals along with the
That would be sick. But they better come in silver or bronze because we're gonna take gold.
Like, you get USA gold, American Samoa silver. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, that means we would beat them in the championship game. But I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
there's no way anybody's keeping up with the fucking NFL team. There's no way. The best of it. There's no way.
Wait, what are you saying, Cozy? Are you getting into work? I'm still refreshing.
Join from there, you'll be in. Join from where? X page? What? Just music for now, but in. That's what he says.
Okay, and boxing, one of my favorite Jews. I know I always say that. I have so many, like, I don't, yeah, it's not working for me. Can you guys try as well, and then we can pull it up from your thing?
I'm trying.
I'll try.
I'm also trying.
Said it's just music for now, so.
Okay, where the fuck is my homepage?
Can't even refresh it. I have to go back in.
That's what I'm saying. It's like,
Yeah, mine is not working.
I'm just gonna keep opening up new pages.
Yeah, read Coverdale just said fucking read. I'm in the space, but there's just music.
Maybe I'll try. Cozy, did you get in from Elon's page or Trump's page? I don't know why I'm saying Elon and then.
Yeah, I can't get in.
Nah, it just says details. Not my screen's freezing.
I'm just getting like a gray screen.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm getting. What the fuck, dude?
Take a drink every time you laugh. Let's make this fun. Oh god.
Everyone's gotta get in there.
By the way, I asked Adam if he wanted to go to an Eagles Giants game at the Link, which is the Eagles Stadium, and he said, and he said, I'm not trying to go see a game with those savages, and I actually agree with him. Probably would.
Yeah, I'm like, I've season tickets to the Giants. Why would I do that? It's crazy.
I was able to stream our thing on Twitter.
Oh, maybe I can get ours up.
You could. Oh, you know what? Mine is too now.
Looks like it's slow. They're slowly working in overdrive. Well, Elon's got like I don't even know what his workforce is, but it's like massively reduced from where it was before he bought it.
Oh no, I'm still not streaming, I guess. No, we are. Okay, weird.
Dude, the guy says there's 218K listeners. Yeah, I bet there's way more trying to get in.
No, they can't be. That's yeah.
Oh, Trump. Coming back
Cozy,
to Twitter.
did you get another new Twitter account? That's got to be
You
like
silly
the third
goose.
one.
He's a Kardashian.
Kardashian. Heather is back. Thank you, Heather. Our one female listener. I appreciate it.
I can't get into shit, dude.
Somebody says they're on mobile. That we won't be able to stream that if we're on mobile.
We could also talk about how
we're live on my Twitter, and my Twitter's bigger than all of yours put together, so it's fine.
Nice.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's true.
But my dick is bigger than yours, so it's fine.
You don't know that.
Yeah, I do. I watched it.
Don't?
I snuck in your room.
Jesus. How is Trump a Kardashian? Did he ruin the life of a black celebrity? No, he's actually helped a lot of black celebrities.
They still won't get his vote.
And Cozy says on Twitter, missed you, friend. They killed Cozy 4. They no kill Cozy 5. We'll see, brother. I hope not.
So Elon's not even running it on his page.
No, it's on Trump's page.
It's just his, yeah. Well, guess what then? I can't get it. So
I agree with you, JC, but I think it's good that he's on now.
yeah, no, yeah. I mean, he should be back, but like it's crazy. Like that was a dumb. Also, the Rogan thing was stupid too.
I think he was, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he should not have attacked Rogan, especially for something that was nothing.
That was such a Trump move.
Yeah, I know. It's like he
really
can't help himself.
Ego. He's got big ego.
Yeah.
That fucking cat turd account is a boomer. Another person I want to head kick. Him and Brooklyn Dad. I want to head kick. Equally hate both of them.
Right. On both sides. They're like the opposite ends of each other. They both suck.
They both suck.
Cat turd is the conservative Brooklyn Dad.
Yeah, 100%. That guy's such a fucking boomer loser.
Like a couple weeks ago, he was like, maybe it was last week, but he was like freaking out about Kyle Rittenhouse.
And Tim Pool, which I don't even like Tim Pool, but like he just kept going off of Tim Pool, and I was like, actually, Tim Pool's back on this one.
yeah, dude. There's like so many people that he just like is one of those guys. I mean, it is an election year, but still, like he's one of those guys of like if you have any public criticism of Trump at this time and not all out allegiance, then he's gonna come after you.
Yeah. Can you pull up Heather's comment, Sam? Please. Thank you. Brooklyn Dad is a cuck and a tool. Very correct.
Sure seems like it.
Yeah, a bunch of people saying theirs is not working.
No, I'm giving up on the. I'm on my side. You guys keep trying. I'm fucking nothing coming through.
Well,
This is
it
barely
doesn't seem like it's started yet. So
Yeah,
no one
I
can get
don't.
in. They're probably just panicking now and being like, "Open up servers somehow." I don't know how this works, but just figure it out.
They probably planned for this in a way, maybe.
Your mustache is coming in nice.
Thanks, man. I'm really putting it together. I didn't think I could grow this.
yes.
Shout out to Luke who can't grow facial hair.
So if you're just joining us, we're trying to get in. From what I've seen, it hasn't started yet, and we cannot get in.
Canoe.
Local rate limited. Okay, so I got rated. I got locked locally, just because I keep trying to get in.
I know what that means.
Neither do I.
I was gonna pretend like I do and just move on. That's Steven.
You got locked locally, dude? That sucks, dude. What the
Damn,
fuck?
dude. What'd you do?
Oh gosh. Okay.
While we're waiting, let's talk about how the English police think they could come over here and extradite us. I'll stack those motherfuckers up on my doorstep.
Dude, that was pretty crazy.
Crazy.
I can't believe they said that. They were going to look into extraditing Americans. Like,
Good
dude,
luck.
who do you think you are? Dude? That's crazy.
I like how everybody unanimously was like, suck our collective cock.
Yeah,
Yeah,
dude.
obviously.
It's so crazy that I can't even believe they like said that publicly.
I can. They are straight Orwell. Dude, they really are 1984 over there. They don't give a fuck.
Like, dude, what? Yeah, dude, it's gonna be a major problem for them because, like, I guess British people don't really. I don't know their extent of their free speech. Like, they don't have. I don't know like what they can and cannot say. But here we can just be like, yo, fuck you. You guys suck, and there's nothing you can do to stop us.
Dude, the best was like Americans were like flooding the English like police chats and be like, help, I have a crime. And they're like, what? And they're like, an Albanian lives next door. I need help. Like just random shit like that.
Typo looks like he's interviewing for a job at the CIA to overthrow a South American government on behalf of a fruit company. I'll take
Chiquita.
it, dude.
Dude, they hired a paramilitary organization to fuck shit up. Chiquita.
I'm actually being recruited to go to Venezuela. So
Yeah.
Base.
We just want to start a paramilitary organization. I think it's what we're gonna have.
We don't care about the reason. We're just gonna start one.
yeah, we just want the money.
I mean, we're all firearms qualified here.
Let's go. Yeah,
I
I'll
just
start a
want
coup.
Give me like a small country to start with. I need a rookie campaign. I need like Ecuador or something, like a small one, like Uruguay.
That's not that small.
That's Uruguay.
is
Paraguay?
smaller.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. But
There you
maybe
go.
we should start with Central America though. We'll base in El Salvador and then we'll take over Honduras and Nicaragua.
Yeah, me and my friends went during the lockdowns because we were like, dude, America's fucked. We have to go somewhere else. We're like, what if we just conquer a small third world country? like, do you think we could climb the ladder and fucking dominate? And
Yes,
just,
but then like
rule?
just like nothing first world about it. Like no internet, really, no
Yeah.
like amenities that we're accustomed to.
Let's just take
Well-
over Luxembourg.
Well, we
Yeah,
would get
that's a good
it.
one.
We would just be like stealing it from the people. Like we would still have all those things. It would just be they would not have that at all, and we would be living in a palace. But the only problem is we'd probably get cooed by the American government, like very
Yeah.
quickly.
They'd
Like,
see that as an opportunity. They'd be like, well, they did the work for us. Now we can go in.
yeah, they'd definitely try to establish some sort of a relationship. And well, if we wanted to maintain power, we'd probably have to play ball. And who knows what that entails. If we form a paramilitary, what did that say? Wait, we all have to dress
company.
as-
We'll have to dress as characters from Metal Gear Solid. Done
I'm
on
down,
Revolver
dude.
Ocelot.
Yeah, I'm down.
I want to wear a trench coat and shoot a revolver. That looks fun as fuck.
Dude, that Turkish guy from the Olympics is like goated now. He won silver. I don't even know who won gold anymore. Like,
Who cares? Doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't even know.
Elon says that Twitter is getting DDoSed.
What does that mean?
That's what I was talking about before. It's when they attack the they send a bunch of computers at it to like overload the network. That's interesting.
I wonder how he knows that.
Alex Jones is saying watch it on InfoWars.
They should have just sprung this up on everybody and not announced it. Just be like 8 p.m.
Yeah, that
like an hour before it starts, so that you can't even get anything going.
Damn, that's crazy, dude.
How could he watch it on his channel? That doesn't make sense.
Some people got in. There's some people commenting like they're in and they like the music.
Okay, give me a second. I'm gonna
Sam, do some 90s hacker movie shit and get us in there. Just type on your keyboard real fast. They all did that back then.
There appears to be a massive DDoS attack on X, working on shutting it down. I assume he's referring to the DDoS attack. He says, worst case, we will proceed with a smaller number of live listeners and post the conversation later. So something is going to happen tonight for sure, but there's definitely a cyber attack happening. And this is an attack on freedom of speech right before our eyes, happening in real time.
Well, I want you to tweet at him because he's smarter than I am and say, will you please just put out a video screen of the X spaces, because your video system is way more redundant, because he's calling it, oh, listeners. No, they're participants. It's why it has more bandwidth, because they have all that interface power. I'm not a technician, but I know the fact that a system where each person can interface and has all these controls.
All right, there is some speaking happening in the space right now.
Okay, go to it. Here it is.
Okay, we'll try to get into it now.
Well, it looks like it went away. They just did a quick update in the space where they said there was a cyber attack, and now they're back to the hold music. Sorry about that, guys.
Hey, I love this attack.
We're like watching Alex Jones watch the interview.
Most people are like, oh, God, we're attacked. We're going home. This is what happens in the info war, folks. I mean, you got Elon Musk and Donald Trump. Obviously, millions want to hear it. And I tell you, my gut level, which I said, I guarantee it's true. He probably boosted all the bandwidth, did major updates, but there's an attack on top of it. Because, again, like I told you, it came out. Remember when they had the vote about bringing me back? That got attacked on.
Well, and I think it was the UK government that made that statement talking about, hey, you better not let Trump speak, or you know, whatever the official statement was.
It was the EU and UK.
Well, Musk did issue a reply earlier today, and to put it short, I don't know what the EU or the UK government thinks it has to say about our speech in America, but I'm going to
picked one show because they can't stop all of us.
This
so they
is
act
behind
like
for
they
me.
can just stop this interview, which will only make it bigger. In fact, I hope they
right.
shut it
Is
down
it
tonight.
lagging for you
when
guys
Trump
too?
comes on in 3 days, it'll be 300 million instead of 100 million.
Musk should just fly down to Mar-a-Lago, just have the sit-down interview. It'll be bigger.
Yeah. They should have done that, actually.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They should have just done that.
I've only experienced this. 25
so
million
annoying.
viewers when he talked to me for 2.5 hours. And then 25, 40, it was like, I quit counting. 50 million. That was Alex Jones. They want to see the radicals, Owen.
But it is possible. Trump flew a popular streamer to Mar-a-Lago. I think it was last week, Aiden Ross. They ended up getting 50 million views, 24 hours. I don't know where the number is now. The point is that it can be done. The platforms exist to have it done successfully. And so, to me, that is the foolproof strategy to go with. I'm not Donald Trump. I don't know if he was expecting this.
Look,
I don't know if he's frustrated by this.
He's using this to test his platform. But he just...
I agree.
I that's part of it. But I think he's telling the truth. He just... Because we get hit with DDoS every time we have a big interview.
Yeah, well, we had to set up a fail-safe curtain in front of our stuff now.
Well, that's why, you notice I've told you guys, and I don't tell you a lot what to do, because I respect you. You got to do what you want. We agree about 95%. But when I will say, when you got a really big guess, you might not want to announce it right away.
Right. That's what I said.
When they hit you.
Yeah, I know, dude. That's exactly what you said.
I'm just, he says, Elon Musk just posted 42 seconds ago, we tested the system with 8 million concurrent listeners earlier today. So he's saying it's not a matter of the number of people joining in. It is the DDoS attack. That was a retweet of
I believe it.
DDoS.
So
statement.
I don't know how they.
So there you go.
know
Why are they so?
that
Why
there's
would
a
the EU
DDoS
and the
attack.
UK threaten to not
no
do this
clue.
interview? Think of the
Backdoor stuff.
arrogance of these people, man. They're telling us we can't hear our president and Elon Musk. I mean, what?
That's what I was wondering. It almost seemed like an act of desperation because they knew Elon Musk wasn't going to go,
gonna
oh,
make it
okay,
bigger."
sorry. Yeah, so why would you come out and make a demand that you know is not going to be met? I mean, it's just humiliating for
Yeah,
them.
this is Cyber Command doing this.
Yeah.
Well, he's been
Command.
really harsh.
Cyber
on
Command
what's
sounds awesome.
going on in the UK for the
Yeah.
last couple weeks, and so I think that they kind of
don't know
took
who
that
any of these
personally.
people
And by the way, that's a beta
are.
test, as you know, for the rest of the world.
Well, it's
That's
happening already. There was a story out of Buffalo, New York, and look,
Troyer, he went to
it's such a-
jail.
Yeah, he went to
people
jail.
just need to see the end result. Forget about
And the other guy's
these
name is
ancient
like
holy
Harrison
wars
or
or this
something.
religion
Frank,
or that religion, and just
I
look at
think.
the end result of what's happened in England and realize that something similar is going to happen in the United States. Whether it's illegal migrant gangs and criminal gangs,
They're creating a crisis.
or whether
Do you
it's a
guys
new
see the
religion
Irish
that
going back
has
to
a
their
base
roots and
here.
firebombing
A
the
Muslim
police
group
again?
just purchased
I did
a
see that, yeah.
cathedral
I did
in Buffalo,
not
New York
see
for
that.
$250,000.
Just throw Molotov
And they're gonna
cocktails
turn it
right at
into
the
a
cops.
mosque. And so this is an
Jesus
ancient,
Christ.
beautiful Catholic cathedral. The Catholics couldn't raise $250,000 to purchase it and save it, so the Muslims did. And so it's like,
It's a
where do you
gorgeous
think this
building.
goes? It's incredible. I don't know why. I mean, the Vatican couldn't step
They
in.
can't build these today. So let's explain something. Key point that I was just making. Ladies and gentlemen, this is history happening right now.
Everything's
And
history
they're trying
happening
to
right now,
censor
Alex.
this. They're trying to control this
Absolutely.
because they're so scared of what you're saying, Owen.
So I just don't want to live in an America that looks like the UK or specifically Britain, where the traditional English people are basically shoved aside and told, no, this replacement population now gets favorite treatment.
And that's the problem of Westerners is we're so individual, which is good. We don't organize. The Muslims do. And it's their religion. They take over everywhere. They push everybody out. It's a fact.
I don't think it'll be Muslims here per se. I think when it comes here, it's going to be illegal alien gangs, I think.
And pervert groups.
And so that's what
What do you mean?
The Rainbow Pedophile Coalition.
this was set up. If you look at
The
what's happened
Rainbow
in England in the last
Pedophile
few years, this was set up for the Muslim
What the
population to
heck?
essentially
What's he
assert its
talking
dominance
about?
over
Yeah, it was
the
funny.
English culture and
It was
civilization.
funny. It
That's
doesn't
that's
make
what
any
was being
sense,
set up.
but it's
Now we're
funny.
finally seeing the final result, and people are shocked because the government's coming out and saying, nope, if you're a white Englishman, sit down, shut up, you're going to prison. If you're an Islamic man, you can go ahead and do whatever the hell you want, attack anybody, take over the civilization. It's fine. We're going
Probably
to protect
shouldn't
you
have
in
given
that
up your
endeavor. That's how
guns.
woke we are.
Pussies.
What I see being set up right now in the
Whoa,
United States
what?
is
Who
you
is
have
hitting
all
who
these
there?
illegal
What the
aliens
hell?
coming here, and they're immediately
Yeah,
being
I
put
saw
on
this.
entitlement programs and welfare programs.
Dude, if
And so
They don't
what's going to
believe in
happen here
Pakistani flag.
is the day that these entitlements run dry or the day that their welfare state gets cut off, they're going to start rioting. They're going to start burning cities. They're going to start destroying our country. And when people try to step up and stop it or call it out or say anything, you'll be the one that gets arrested. You'll be called a
absolutely.
racist,
I mean, they throw,
a xenophobe.
What's really gotten, even me just putting it outside like 10 million posts.
Like our
An
An
video,
update from
please,
Elon
even
Musk.
though
Yeah,
we're
like
not
our
on
video,
the
says we
subscribe,
will proceed
subscribe
with
if
a
you're not
smaller number of
subscribed,
concurrent
subscribe.
listeners at 8:30 Eastern time, so that's in 2 minutes from now, and then post the unedited audio immediately thereafter. So they are solving the problem.
Good. It was a smart move to cut back to people can get on. That means they'll block the people coming in with the DDoS attack. So let me just throw this out real quick. The point I'm trying to get at here is this is information warfare. And so who do I have in there posting on X?
Did you do that?
Okay, I did because I just got in.
Oh shit. Okay.
let's go.
Let's go. I'm so excited.
Weird techno music.
All right.
Yeah.
Don't pull it up. I don't want to hear that. So don't pull it up until I start talking. Damn, dude. I wonder what they're gonna. I think they're the first thing to talk about is the attack on free speech. That's I think the first thing to talk about.
That's a good assumption.
All right,
I think
we're gonna
that
bring it. We're gonna bring it back to. We're gonna bring it back
So,
to these guys.
Breaking. Elon Trump interview under hack attack. See censored interview here live. That's the headline.
Seth Gunderson said he got in. Also,
yeah, and I got in too.
Yeah,
it's shut down. We're telling him. So you heard the headline right now. Exclusive. Elon Trump interviewed under hack attack. Hear and see censored interview at this link. Sound good? Something like that? All right, fire that out. And again, to listeners, that's all you can do. Like, take what's happening and don't like, oh, God, they're attacking us. We're beaten. I know most of you understand this. But use it against the enemy. That which doesn't kill you only makes you stronger. Owen?
James O'Keefe calls that distribution by proxy. And so that's essentially what we're doing. We're acting as a proxy
guys, I'm just,
for this
still
X space
playing
between
music,
Trump
so
and Musk.
Exactly. Whatever happens to their feed, we're jacked in boosting it. So they got to attack us too.
And so basically now...
We're all Spartacus.
So basically now all we have to do is act as one person taking that feed, and then we just feed it through our amplified feed to the millions of people that tune into us, and it only affects the X spaces to
and
the
that means the enemy DDoSing their link, we get around them.
Yes.
So I was actually able to join the space somehow. Over 500,000 people have joined. I'm listening to the elevator music right now. It's coming from Trump's.
Me too, brother. That's my.
Stats, but I don't.
That's my.
Maybe I'm in here.
There.
I don't know. I wonder how many people they're going to let in.
It's under massive attack. So
yeah.
But don't worry. They're going to run headlines tomorrow, even if they don't get on there tonight. Oh, Trump, big crash, big joke. No, I predict when Trump finally does the next Elon interview, it'll be 5 times bigger. What, 800 million views?
100 million in 24 hours guaranteed.
Yeah, but I mean, Tucker got 200 million with Putin. I think this will be bigger.
I agree.
Could be.
Yeah, maybe not 800 million, but
if people get pissed off. Chase Geyser, what's the latest?
Yeah, so there's nothing new developed, but we got that tweet out. We are encouraging everybody to watch. If they can't get into the space, they can listen to it uncensored on our live streams on X or at infowars.com/show.
Request to
but
speak.
We're still getting elevator music.
No way you get it.
Space. We are in the space, so we will be able to broadcast
that's what I
if they
did.
start another space, but I don't anticipate that.
And by the way, people can criticize Elon. This is a revolutionary technology. This is what it takes, like a space program. I mean, this is...
Look at this thing, man.
Joe, Jersey Jerry's in there. Let's go.
I'm just
from
I
Barstool.
hope it takes off tonight. It's too big. I think this, we've got too big to rig for the election. This is like too big to go. This is like too big to launch.
Too big to stream.
Yeah, too big to stream, too big to launch. Because he says we want to limit the people that can get in. The requests aren't going to stop coming.
Right.
Well, exactly. I'm not an engineer, but that's what they call a slow Loris attack. It doesn't matter if you try to block it. Your computer still has to take requests, and a hacker just goes request.
This is like any big. If you look at any big famous international soccer match, this actually just happened in Miami last month, where there's so many people that want to go to this game.
I don't believe it.
The crowds outside of the stadium are just so massive.
You can't get in. You
can't get in. And so people just end up climbing up the rafters and up the fence and into the scaffolding. And then they had to cancel the Copa America game. They had to delay the Copa America game like an hour and a half in Miami last month because it was like the same thing. There were too many people there.
So it's a sign of success.
It's a sign of how popular it is. It's a sign of how big it is. It's basically the biggest event. I mean, biggest international soccer matches on the planet. They have to delay the games because too many people show up, and they basically shut down the stadium.
Oh,
so
that's
what you're getting the equivalent of right
here. It does look like people are able to get in now. There's over 770,000 people.
What did they say? He was
able to join from a personal
building?
account. Dario was able to join as well, and others. So
all right, so maybe they were able to block the
DDoS
DDoS attack.
Yeah, something to do with that. I forgot exactly.
I
don't think he was in the Capitol. I forgot what they got.
He got in.
I don't mean literally, but I mean.
I heard Krassenstein has a raging clue.
That's a South Park reference,
That's
dude.
a South Park
Holy
episode.
shit.
I'll send it to you later. You'll laugh.
I'm thinking now. Half the stuff you guys said, I'm good.
I think you just called Krassenstein
It's
gay.
just the Hardy Boys like to find raging clues and disappear into a closet together. When they find a raging clue.
I only figured out what a bunch of stuff was 4 years ago. I'm like, people are like, I'm not going to even say it.
Look,
but people were like telling me this sex stuff, and I was like, what's that mean? What? I'm sorry.
Like where a tampon goes with the Tim Walls?
Yeah.
Wait a minute, the
I'm
music
sorry,
stopped.
man. I know how to order a beer.
And Trump just muted his mic.
Okay.
Dude, Trump,
Elon's out of the space.
if Trump picks me, what should I say?
Bobby Booey, Bobby Booey, Bobby Booey.
Mr. Trump, when you win, are you sending Kamala Harris back to India or Jamaica?
No, I think you should ask if we could go to war with England right away.
look at my tweets that
I can't even
come
see
up
it so
on
far
my
away.
homepage. It says,
Flint
did
Dibble.
Flint Dibble cause this? I was asking if Flint Dibble caused the attack, which I think is a good question. I'm just questioning Flint. I'm not saying you did. I'm just
Allegedly.
asking questions.
Allegedly.
And then Jimmy Corsetti, of course, the GOAT. And then what is your favorite slur from Alex Rosen, one of my other favorites?
Yeah, he's awesome.
He's the best.
Yo,
Jonathan
catching pedophiles
Cho,
looks
who's
fun as
also
fuck. I gotta be
a guy.
honest.
Yeah, it's not something I'd want to get involved with. Be careful with the P word, by the way, on YouTube.
Oh yeah,
PDF
right.
file.
PDF files, I meant.
Oh, wow. You can't say that on YouTube?
No,
That's
you
fucking
can't
crazy.
say that word. There's a bunch of words.
That's
Any
insane.
words related to violence, that's why people say like unalive.
Yeah.
What's up, Conrail? How you doing?
I like how that's the workaround. Like we don't know. Like, oh, whatever you meant by that.
I know.
You're so stupid,
It's
dude.
like, well, it's like, you know, the same thing with like the N word, you know, like you can't say that word, but then people go around and call them like antique farm equipment. It's like, I think that's way worse. I think that's worse.
That's worse.
Definitely worse.
So it's like, I'd rather be called the N word, you know, like
Definitely worse. Holy Christ.
but you can say that and get away with, well, I mean, and I guess if enough people report you, you probably can't, but.
Okay. While we're waiting, we're going to get back to the NFL
Pass the
wars.
law to hire 86,000 IRS agents to target workers.
But it's kind of funny that Kamala was just like, you know what? No tax on tips.
Trump's deal.
She just
Or
stole
Pelosi
it.
admitting,
It's kind of funny.
oh, I think that letter was fake. Biden didn't really resign.
that.
That's her trying to cover her ass.
Steals it from
And then
Trump.
we've got, just all this other.
Next slogan, she's like, we're going to build a
Ukraine
wall.
has attacked Russia 5 days ago and gone like 50 miles in. And and NATO's backing in. That's a total insane escalation. And then we've got, I mean, it's all just cuckoo town. So, I mean, what else? There's a lot to talk about here.
Well, geopolitically, there have been some major developments. I mean, I don't know. That's like a long stream broadcast to get into that. I think when we look at the U.S. election, though, I think again, it's so stunning. It's so stunning to sit here and watch these Harris rallies where now she's campaigning on strong borders. She's literally
she really?
stealing
I haven't even
Trump's
seen this.
campaign policy, no tax on
Okay,
tips.
but that's good.
I mean, what's next? She's going to come out
She's
in
like
a red
Joy
hat.
Reid. She may have gold hair tomorrow.
It's
That's what I'm
good if
saying.
they
She's going to
adopt
come
her
out in a red
policy.
hat and a
Well, they came out
Elon
with
Musk
the
is
camo.
back
They're
in
they're
space.
running the camo hat now. They're not just taking Trump's policies. They're trying to steal like the style, the Make America Great Again style, and make it a little bit different. It's like the off-brand Make America Great Again.
Here's like the
Wish.com,
outside
Make
thing
America
that stuns
Great
me
from
that I can't
Kamala.
help but notice, though, is the absolute state of brainwashing that the American Democrat is under. I mean, we are talking
Dude, I see that every day on
complete
Twitter.
and
It's
total
crazy.
mind control where they don't even blink an eye. Kamala Harris is running against her own administration. She's literally running against the economy that she
She
created.
claims she's going to do. Trump was honest in June. He goes, I was in Vegas. A waitress comes over and says, why don't you get rid of taxes on tips? He goes, great idea. And then she was the one that engineered and bragged to squeeze waitresses.
There's a policy.
And so it's one thing if she stole it. It's another thing that she's the queen of raping service workers. I mean, you cannot. It's such a perfect
What a
fraud.
ridiculous.
But the lemmings stand behind her and cheer
I
and
love it,
clap.
dude.
Like they love it.
You're talking about the AI
I'm just
pictures
sitting
they're
here-
using?
Because if you look at the original founding of this
Yeah, wasn't it,
country
like,
and the
video?
political science when it first
I think
was,
it was both.
was founded, we've really
That plane picture is
kind of
1,000% AI.
gone off
They're
pasture in
coming
a
off the
lot of
plane?
ways.
Oh, really?
Well, I don't
Yeah,
mean just the
that
basic
was like
constitutional
1,000% AI.
violations, but I mean how the
1,000%.
That was
actual
the one I
science is
saw that I was like,
Like,
that's
like
not real.
these people
Yeah.
shouldn't vote. I'm
They also don't allow
I'm to the
people
point
that
now
close
where
to
I'm
the
like,
fucking plane.
F your voting
Land in
rights,
the
bro.
fucking tarmac.
If
Did you
you
see the
get past-
women? I
Yeah,
never
I
played it
don't-
today. Can you guys cue that up?
That's
Of the
crazy.
Democrat Party
There was
women
some ones, though, that
howling
people
like
shared that.
animals.
No, we're real
Hey,
for
she
sure.
a woman,
Like,
she black.
that
Have
was
you seen
that
this
plane
clip?
was
Yeah,
fake.
and
Get it ready.
that's
Oh, yeah,
that's what there
100%.
are
That's
three
one
big
I
issues.
definitely thought was
When
fake.
Kamala Harris voters were asked, "What are your three main issues?" It was abortion, she's black, and she's a woman. Congratulations. Okay, so abortion. What percentage of Americans does abortion actually apply to every year?
Very small.
A tiny fraction.
5%.
And so, okay, so that doesn't really apply to many people. as a political issue, and then you're going to go into she's a black woman. Well, what if she's a black woman and her policy is I'm going to stab you in the throat? So, okay, well, she's a black woman. She's
Oh,
gonna stab you in
man,
the throat. So that's
I'm
great.
gonna
I'm
let
going to vote for her. I mean, this is where we're at.
I
So
would
you need
make
to
that
have a basic
argument, but I get what
civics
he's
test
saying.
or a basic political IQ test.
No, I agree. Did
something.
you guys find the clip?
Yeah, I
I
haven't
meant to
seen
play
that
it this morning. I didn't get to it. They're literally howling at a rally.
They're going, we're gonna win. We're gonna win.
Yeah, that's it.
Like, my God.
Well, I saw the
Jack Masoba. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Here's the clip.
Wow, short-haired lesbians. What a shock. That's so surprising, guys.
I'm optimistic. I've always been
Oh, they all, dude. The physiognomy, what's the word? Physiognomy always checks out. Always. They always look exactly how you think they are. Always.
To a win, and like I said, I'm all about.
I mean, look at this people.
Are they shooting gang signs? What's going on?
Oh,
Dude, that is crazy. Oh, they're talking.
we're coming in.
Oh. Let's go.
We think we've overcome most of that, and so it's now time to proceed. But as this massive attack illustrates, there's a lot of opposition to people just hearing what President Trump has to say, and but I'm honored to have this conversation. I want to emphasize it's a conversation, and it's really intended to just get a feel for what Donald Trump is just like in a conversation. So it's hard to catch a vibe about someone if you just don't hear them talk in a normal way. And when there's an adversarial interview, like no one's themselves in an adversarial interview. And this is really aimed at kind of open-minded, independent voters who just trying to make up their mind. So you can understand like what is what is it just like to have a conversation? So honored to Donald, great to speak. We had a great conversation yesterday. As you mentioned yesterday, if we could just record that conversation and post it, it would have been excellent. And I hope we can have something like that today.
Well, I think we will. I'm pretty sure we will. And congratulations, because I see you broke every record in the book with so many millions of people, and it's an honor. We view that as an honor. And then you do want silencing of certain voices. Usually those are voices that have something to say that are constructive, oftentimes constructive. And so we have to consider it an honor. But congratulations on breaking every record in the book tonight. That's great.
Well, thank you. Well, I mean, maybe we could start off with, the assassination attempt, which was an incredible thing. And I have to say,
I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, me either.
Your actions after that assassination attempt were inspiring. You, instead of shying away from things, instead of ducking down, you were pumping your fist in the air and saying, fight, fight, fight. And I think that's, the president of the United States represents America, and I think that is America. That is strength under fire, and so that's a big part of the reason why I was excited to endorse you as the president of the United States for having another term here. Is that was just incredibly inspiring. But I mean, what was it like for you?
Not pleasant. I have to be honest. I said there was blood. I had more blood. I didn't know I had that much blood. The doctors later told me that the ear is a place that is a very bloody place if you're going to get hit. But in this case, it was probably the best alternative you could even think about, because it went at the right angle, and it was a hard hit. It was very. I guess you would say surreal, but it wasn't surreal. I was telling somebody you have instances
he
like
just sound like he's eating
this,
something.
or like a lot less than this, where you feel it's a surreal situation.
He has Novocaine in his
and
mouth.
I never felt that way. I knew immediately
McDonald's.
that it was a bullet. I knew immediately that it was at the ear.
Yeah.
And because it hit very hard, but hit the ear. And I also heard people shout, "Bullets, bullets!" Get down, because I moved down pretty nicely, pretty quickly, and we had bullets flying right over my head after I went down. So I'm glad I went down. The bigger miracle was that I was looking in the exact direction of the shooter, and so it hit me at an angle that was far less destructive than any other angle. So that was the miracle. That was for those
Split
people that
second.
don't believe in God. I think we got to all start thinking about that. You have to, I'm a believer now. I'm more of a believer, I think, and a lot of people have said that to me. A lot of great people have said that to me, actually. But it was amazing that I happened to be turned just at that perfect angle, and all because I put down a chart on immigration that showed that the numbers were so great. I love that chart even more
maybe
now
it's a
than I
sign. Maybe that's a sign.
it's an immigration sign.
You highlighted a serious issue, and
Yeah.
at that moment,
That's right.
the bullet missed your, hit your ear, but missed your head. I mean,
Well, the amazing thing is that the sign, I said, bring down that sign on
I also
immigration,
share
and
that opinion.
it was literally
divine
about an eighth of a
intervention.
second where it would be good, and after that it was going to be a disaster, no matter which way you were facing. But it just had that
Racism saved
that
his
perfect
life.
angle, which was exactly at this shooter. Very sad situation. Such a sad situation. As you know, we lost somebody that was great, Corey,
Yeah.
who a firefighter, a great gentleman, a great trumper. He was just a fantastic family and a fantastic man. And a friend of mine came up, Elon, and said, "I'd like to give the family some kind of help." And I said, "That's great." He said, "Do you mind?" I said, "I don't mind at all." And he wrote out a check for $1 million, gave it to the wife. And, she
Sorry,
said,
your
"This
dad's
is
dead.
really
Here's $1
nice,
million.
but I'd rather have my husband
Yeah, I
back,"
mean,
which
it's
is
not
a nice
no
thing for
amount of
somebody to
money,
say, to be
Yeah.
honest. She's great. The family is great. And we raised a lot of money for them and for two other gentlemen are unbelievable people also. They were hit really badly. They thought they were not going to make it, and they did. The doctors in the Butler area, I tell you, they were incredible. They saved the
wish they would
two,
talk about something else.
and they
Yeah,
were
let's move
really
on from
hit
this.
But,
tough,
yeah.
both of them equally.
Especially 'cause I had
And we
nothing to
thought
say on it,
my
besides
first
obviously
question
it's
was
very
because I
sad.
heard bullets
No, they should
flying
be
over me. I
focusing
said,
on
"How
this a
many
lot
people were
more.
killed?" Because we had
I
a
think Trump's
massive
campaign
crowd
should
there, a
definitely focus on this
tremendous
stuff.
Yeah.
thousands
I
and
think they should put it
thousands of
more in the
people,
ads.
and there was no
But I
land.
don't
I mean,
know,
it was
25
all
minutes
people.
in
So
the space.
how many people have been killed? Because I knew there were other shots being fired,
Sure.
and they said we don't know yet, but some people have been badly hurt. And I have to give the Secret Service sniper, they call him, or sharpshooter, but sniper,
Yeah.
because he didn't know there was a problem. He's an extraordinary shot, obviously, and he didn't know there was a problem. And he was
Yeah.
able to pick it all out within 5 seconds. And he used one bullet from very far away, I guess probably about 400 yards. The shooter was 130, but he was on the he was on the opposite side of the field and the podium, and he saw the smoke and the flame from the gun, immediately recognized it, and immediately took a shot. And it was one perfect shot from very far away.
It
And
was a good shot.
if he didn't do that, Elon, he would have.
It
I
wasn't
mean, if
that
he
hard of a
would have,
shot for
a lot of
sniper,
people,
but
a lot more
obviously
people could have been
Sure.
badly hurt and killed. So
Yeah,
I have to
absolutely.
take my hat off to him, because that's also a surreal. He's been with them for 23 years, and
Yeah.
he's never had anything like this. And all of a sudden he has to act, and it's a very tough thing to act and to be shooting somebody. But he saw the gun, saw the smoke, saw the flame from the gun, very far away. I obviously has very good eyes. He's got very good vision, which I assume you
Yeah.
have to have in that particular work. But he took
Absolutely.
aim very quickly, and they say it was approximately 5 seconds from long range,
Yeah.
one bullet.
Wow.
If that didn't happen, because
Yeah.
the shooter had a lot of bullets, he had a lot of cartridges
Sure.
up there with him, so
Well,
could have been very.
I mean, that's clearly, he was very confident in taking that shot to stop the attempted assassination. But I mean, there does seem to be, I mean, some pretty significant failings elsewhere in the system. Like, there's just no way that, like, how on earth does a shooter get on a roof 130 yards away? That seems crazy. I think most people people are wondering how on earth could such a thing happen?
Well, I view it as two ways. There should have been nobody on the roof. There were people, because there were so many tens of thousands of people there. There were people that were seeing him, and there was one woman with a red shirt and Trump all over it, and she's screaming. That guy's got a gun. You saw it probably. There's a guy up there with a gun.
I mean, it's like I guess, I mean, for my part, and I think probably many members of the public are wondering how the heck are, basically people wondering by it, pointing out there's a guy on the roof with a gun.
Yeah.
And they're seeing it, but somehow it's not being addressed. That does seem crazy.
Well, they're going to learn from this. The communication between the local police, who sort of had an idea, and then ultimately a man lifted himself up to the roof, could barely do it because he was pulling himself up, and he saw the man with the gun. The man with the gun pointed the gun at him. He thought he was probably going to get shot, but he was like pulling himself up, and because of that, he couldn't get to his gun. And he fell down, actually very badly hurt his leg, his ankle. I hear very badly, but he fell down. And he did, from what I understand, he did say there's a guy up there with a gun. And the shooting started very quickly after that. I think it forced the shooter to go maybe quicker. He was supposed to be a very good shot.
Yeah.
My sons, Don and Eric, they can't believe what happened, but they said from 130 yards, a bad shot would hit that target almost every time. Yeah. They said it's like in golf.
With a rifle, it's so easy.
Putt.
Right, 130 yards.
It's not a hard, it's not a tough shot.
It's not a long shot.
If you have time
Secret
to line
Service
it up, that's
it's so
had
easy.
the long
Rifles
shot.
are so easy.
Triple the
from a
distance,
prone
actually.
position, like
so it was a
should have aimed for the
terrible
chest.
thing. Look,
I mean,
it's hard. I have to say this about the Secret Service. When I went down,
dude,
I went down based on I think they're screaming, but other people also, because people saw this happen. You had so many people. One of the miracles was that nobody ran. I mean,
we talked about
if
before.
a gun
He wanted
goes
the
off, the crowd control people showed us this. When guns go off, and it does happen in stadiums at a soccer match or some kind of a match, everybody flees. They call it a stampede, like cattle. But everybody, and a lot of people get killed with those stampedes. We had more people than you'd have at, some of these matches or these games, and nobody left. You had a small group behind us in the grandstand, and that was full. And you look at it as it was taking place, and normally they'd be running. They didn't leave. They saw that I was hurt. They saw a lot of blood, and they saw that I went down. And it's almost like they wanted to be with me. Well, out front, you had thousands, tens of thousands of people. As far as the eye could see, you had people in Butler, as far as the eye could see. And a lot of press, too. There were, many cameras on watching this. It's what makes it so different, because normally things happen that aren't good, but you never have a picture of it. Here we have all these cameras shooting it. So, sort of amazing. But one of the interesting things was that you didn't have anybody flee. You didn't have anybody stampede.
Sure.
Nobody. And there were some people behind me. They stood up and they're looking like, I'll tell you, you want to have them in a foxhole with you. I want to meet some of those people because it's so different from what you heard. But so I was down, but the Secret Service guys, there were bullets flying right over my head. You could hear them go whizzing. And these guys came jumping on top of me, and a young lady, Kate, would jump. They moved so fast, and let me tell you, that took tremendous courage. Now, there was a lack of coordination. There was, obviously everybody understands that somebody that building should have been covered. And
I mean,
that was the big thing.
I mean, looking at the aerial views, that building would be like the #1 spot for a sniper. I mean, it's like if you were to pick, like, what is the favorite place? So if the goal is to assassinate, what's your favorite spot? That building. The roof of that building would be #1.
That would have been the spot.
It's like you can ask for a better location. It's like
no,
#1.
that would have been the spot. You know what people think is when the local policeman, who, by the way, he really he did what he was supposed to do. He couldn't hold on any longer. And then when he got his head just peeking above, this guy standing there with a gun at his head. And when he fell down, again, hurt his ankle very badly, but he was making the calls. But what happened is the firing took place very soon. So what they think is that this guy ran to his site, which he had all planned out with the gun. He ran to the site and he started shooting fast. And maybe that's why he sort of missed. I mean, he
but as you
got
said,
me, but
you
it
would have
could have
hit.
been, could have been a much bigger problem.
But he totally would have hit if you hadn't turned your head. So, like, there was it was a very near thing.
It was a
So,
miracle. If I hadn't turned my head, I would not be talking to you right now. As much as I like you,
exactly.
I would not.
Yeah,
I would not be talking.
He takes any opportunity to
to me
compliment
from another realm, perhaps.
Yeah, that's right. We'd be talking from a different place. But it was a very terrible experience. The Butler Hospital, they did such a great job. The doctors were so good. Everybody was so good. There was a mistake. If somebody knew, because people were hearing that, there was just a bad feeling that somebody was around. You know that story now. It's been pretty well. And if somebody could have said, because they've oftentimes said, like there'd be a lightning storm or something, because I've done, I think, over 300. I think I did a lot more than that, but we did a lot. And oftentimes they'll say, sir, could you wait 10 minutes, please? Sir, could you wait 20 minutes? There's a storm overhead or lightning or something, right? And that happens often. And this would have been a perfect time for that to have happened, but it didn't get coordinated. That was the problem.
Well, it was your I think your actions in the heat of fire, and like what I find admirable there was that you can't fake bravery under such circumstances. The courage is instinctual or it is not. It's not a rehearsed action. And so I just want to say that I think a lot of people admire your courage under fire there. And
Right.
so
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I didn't think of it. I just wanted to get up and I wanted to stand up. I wanted to let people know, I felt I was good when they were on top of me, covering me, actually, very much covering me and very bravely. But I wanted to get up. I said, I want to get up. And they wanted, they have everything there. They wanted stretcher. I didn't like the stretcher. And I knew I was hit in the ear, but I knew I wasn't hit anywhere else. They felt I was hit someplace else because it was such a lot of blood. And they were sure that I was hit someplace else. And they were saying, sir, you were hit more than the ear. I said, nope, I was hit in the ear. I want to get up. Let me get up. And so I got up and the crowd didn't know what to think. I mean, this was so many people, and you could see they were confused. They didn't know what to think. And I wanted to let them know I was okay. It was very important for me to let them know that. And they went wild. You've seen the after. They didn't go wild when I got up because they didn't know, was I alive? You really couldn't tell. When I stood up before the the fist in the air, they didn't know if I was alive. Nobody did. And when I put the fist up, they were just relieved and happy and thrilled, and the place went crazy. It was pretty amazing. It was a terrible thing, but it was
incredibly moving. Yeah.
It's amazing.
Well, and I mean, speaking of the sort of slide that got you to turn that saved your life, really, was the illegal immigration slide. Maybe this maybe it's worth talking about that.
It was
that slide saved your life.
No, the illegal immigration saved my life. You're right, but it was you had to be at the exact angle.
I mean, that's
pro illegal immigration.
saved by illegal immigration.
The incredible thing though, when you talk about
all right, boys, I gotta go. I gotta drive home. But I love you guys. I'll try to catch on.
The incredible thing is that the chart, I used it less than 20% of the time. It was just a moment.
Yeah.
It's always on my left, never my right, and it's always at the end of the speech. So here we have it. It's on the right, not the left. It's at the beginning, not the end. And even the people that put it up, they were unprepared, and they did a great job. They got it up immediately, fortunately. But I looked to the right, and the bullet came whizzing by, hitting my ear. So it was amazing. But when you think of the odds of that, and you know that normally you wouldn't use it. Normally I wouldn't have the thing, and then it would have been a very different story. it's very much, I say, an act of God. It's a miracle that
I
it
have to
happened,
agree.
and I'm
Yeah.
honored by it. I'm
I would
honored
feel
by
the
it.
same way if it
Well,
was anyone else too. I'm not even that big of a Trump fan.
what were you about to say about illegal immigration before you were rudely interrupted with the
Well, I was
bullet?
going to say
Rudely
how good the numbers were.
interrupted.
By the way, we're going back to Butler, and we're going to
Great.
go back in October. We're all set up, and the people are fantastic in Butler. It's a great area. Great. These are incredible people. Like the three that, in the case of Corey, killed, and the other two, the families are. I got to know them a little bit, and the families are great. But we're going back to Butler, and I think I'll probably start by saying,
That's
as
a
I was
decent
saying,
idea, Tim. He might have dentures.
Yeah, as you
prior
were
to
saying,
being so horribly
so,
interrupted.
yeah,
But
yeah. So rudely interrupted by an
yeah,
assassination
so
attempt.
but no, but the chart,
Some people have no manners.
Elon, the chart was just a chart that in my last week we had the best illegal immigration numbers, meaning stopping. It was at the lowest. You've seen the chart. It's become quite a famous
Yeah,
chart,
yeah,
but that was the lowest
yeah.
point ever recorded. It was a really, I mean, I was very proud of those numbers. And then you see what happened with these people, Kamala and Joe. You see what happened. They just let it go. I had remain in Mexico policies. I had all these different policies that was so good. Guys like Tom Holman and Brandon Judd from Border Patrol. These are all people that they've been on television. They said it's the best numbers we've ever had. We had so many different checks.
Yeah, I've seen those numbers.
Catch and
too,
release
it's
in
true.
Mexico,
And
not
now
the
it's the
United. We
worst
had catch
numbers
and
ever.
release in the United States. We had it in Mexico. We had
Catch
so
and
many
release,
things. We
like
had
it's fishing.
things
Dude, that's
where if
crazy.
people, many people come in
Dude,
there, they have
he's
contagious
awesome.
diseases. We had everything
Does not
passed.
give a
If
shit.
you have a contagious disease, I'm sorry, but we cannot allow you into the country. So we were setting
Yeah.
literally records, and all I was doing is showing that, and I use it sometimes,
Sure.
and in this case, I'm glad I used it. I can tell you that, but they were fantastic numbers. But I'm going to sleep with that chart always. I'll be sleeping with that chart. That chart was very important for a lot of reasons.
Well, I mean, would it be accurate to say that you're supportive of legal immigration, but we also need to shut down illegal immigration and especially unvetted illegal
Yes.
immigration because and that's not the same as saying that everyone who's an illegal immigrant is bad. In fact, I think most people who are illegal immigrants are actually good, but you can't tell the difference unless there's a solid vetting of who comes across the border. Does that accurately
100%.
represent your position?
I say it
Okay.
very simply. They have to come in legally. They have to be checked.
Yeah.
Because look,
Yeah.
Kamala was
have
the
to know
border
who's
czar. Now
coming into
she's
the
denying
country.
it. Everything that I do, she's saying she was strong on the border. We're going to be strong. Well, she doesn't have to say it. She could close it up right now. They could do things right now. It's horrible. No tax on tips, and all of a sudden she's making a speech and there will be no tax on tips. I said that months ago. And by the way, they had just the opposite. They had not only tax on tips, but they hired 88,000 IRS agents, and many of them were assigned to go get waitresses and caddies and all of this on tips. They have a policy. They had a policy that they were really going to go after you, and were really harassing people horribly. And then all of a sudden, for politics, she says, she comes out with what I said, which I think is terrible, and I think it's also hitting them very hard. These people are fake. Now they're also saying they did a good
immigration
job in
is
the
border.
border. We had the worst numbers in the history of the world, not of our
Especially
country.
Democrats.
There's never been a country
Yeah,
in
this
history
conversation's going pretty
that
well,
has had
I'd
a
say. They spent
catastrophe like this. We've
talking
had,
about the,
I believe,
at
and I
least
think you
politically
believe this
speaking,
too,
for
you
Trump.
hear 12
Yeah.
million, 13. I believe it's over 20 million people came into our country,
Yeah.
many coming from jails, from prisons, from mental
in jail.
institutions, or a bigger version of that is
Yeah.
insane asylums, and many are terrorists. And I'll tell you what, they're coming
And
not
some of
just from
them
South
are
America, they're
fine
coming
people.
from Africa, they're coming from all over the world. They're coming from Asia, they're
Yeah.
coming from the Middle East, they're coming from countries that are stupidly and horribly bombing Israel October 7th. They're coming from all over the
And you
world.
lost me.
And you look at, it's so sad October 7th because it should have never happened.
Yeah.
It's so sad
Sure.
when you look at Ukraine. It should have never happened. We have a
Good night,
defective
Conrad.
government. These are defective people. and they're not people that should be running it.
Defective
But where you
people.
see it the best is
Hell
the
yeah.
border, because you have millions of people coming in a month, and then she gets up and she tries to pretend like she's going to do something. She had 3.5 years. And by the way, they have another 5 months that they can do something, but they
Yeah.
won't do anything. It's all talk. She's
No.
incompetent and he's incompetent. And frankly, I think that she's more incompetent than he is. And that's saying something, because he's not too good.
Yeah. No, I think it is essential to have a secure border. I mean, you're really not a country unless you have a
Correct.
secure border.
Yes.
And
secure elections, too.
you know,
Ooh.
yeah, absolutely secure elections. And so it's just essential to have a real border, or we can't function as a country, and our service, our central services are being overwhelmed in a lot of cities. But as we were talking about earlier, I think having a legal immigration process that is smooth and efficient and done well, and speaking as someone who is a legal immigrant, and I think I mean, like one way to think of it is, who do you want on your team? Who do you want on Team America? And I think we want to just say, okay, we want to let in people who are going to, be great contributors to our society and to our economy,
Right.
and and who do you want on the team? And it's not to say that, like in my opinion, actually, I'd say like probably most of the illegal immigrants actually are actually good, hardworking people. That's my opinion. But
Yeah,
some
and
are
I'd even
not,
agree with
and you just have
But at a
this
certain
sort of adverse
scale, it
selection
doesn't even
process
matter.
where,
Nope.
if somebody's
They have to go back.
if somebody's like
Even the Catholics.
has
gotta
a
go
career
back to
in theft or
immigration law in
robbery,
like 1830.
I don't understand what's taken them so long to get here.
So many people on my timeline want
Because
me
we
to
are
go
such
back
a
to
target-rich
Ireland.
environment.
I'm not even kidding.
Why aren't more people who have a career
I'm
in,
deep in with the races.
bad things coming here sooner? Because
Yeah.
it's a
Catholic
piece of cake to
immigration
go
didn't
rob,
change this country.
houses in
And I agree with
LA
that.
or New York,
I've said it publicly
compared to other
before.
parts of the world.
As a
And
Irish Catholic, I don't think
and
Irish are going to come
in
in.
a lot of
but
places in America,
hindsight.
if you try to stop the person who's robbing you, you'll be arrested.
Yeah.
So it's
It's
insane.
it's right. I mean, what's happening with crime, and our police are so good, but they're not allowed to do their job. But I have to tell you, Elon, I
They're
hate
not.
to say, because it's such a downer to say it. I hate to say it. I hate it, but you have a lot of people that just shouldn't be. I think it's a much bigger number than you think. They're
I
allowing,
think you're
again,
right.
they're
Yeah.
allowing people from their jails. And if you were running one of these countries where they're coming from, you would have
think
had all of them.
This is true.
As an example,
It happened with
Venezuela,
Cubans back
their
in the day.
crime is
They
down
unloaded their prisons
72%.
and sent them
They're
to
taking their
Miami or
drug
southern
dealers. They're
Florida.
taking, frankly, their prisoners.
Yeah.
They're emptying out their prisons. They're taking their criminals, their murderers, their rapists, and they're delivering them into
But that's what Castro did.
yeah,
That
well, he did on a much smaller scale.
just
You
said
know,
it.
it was a
Dude, that's
much
no
smaller
way.
scale. But
Crazy.
this is a massive scale, because
just
this is
called
being
that.
done worldwide.
that happened.
But here's what's happening: crime all over the world is down. And wait till you see the numbers that we have. You know, this is migrant crime. This is crime that's going to be.
Yeah.
And I saw it today in New York, where somebody was knifed with raped the girlfriend of a man that stood there watching in New York in one of the shelters, and started
Sure.
pulling out the knives, and bad things happen today. But this is happening every day. These are rough people. These are people that are in jail for murder and all sorts of things. And they're releasing them into our country, and they're telling them, if you come back, we're going to kill you. We're going to give you the death penalty or kill you. So they don't want to come back. But these are rough people.
Yeah.
These are criminals that make our criminals look like nice people. And it's horrible what they're doing. And she's in charge of it, because, now she's trying to say she had nothing to do with it. And she's such a liar, because she was called the border czar the first day, and it was on the headlines of every newspaper. She's the border czar, and she never even went there. She went to one location, which had nothing to do with where the problem is. She went in and out, I
Right.
guess, because she was getting a lot of pressure, but
Yeah.
had nothing to do where the problem
Yeah.
is. But she was the
Well,
border czar, and people
Yeah.
can't allow them to get away with their disinformation campaign. Now she's trying to say that she wasn't really involved, and the whole thing is horrible. She was totally in charge. She could have shut the border down without him. He didn't know what he was doing anyway, so he wouldn't have even known what happened. You could shut the border down. He wouldn't even know the difference. But the fact is that she was border czar. But if you don't have to call her that, the fact is you could just call her, she was in charge of the border, and the border was the worst ever.
It's simply not working.
No, it's horrible.
Whether it's by
Adam's in the comments.
Whether it's a question
Adam,
of intention or competence, either way, we don't have a secure border,
buddy.
and we have
You've already
people
been
streaming over like it looks like a World War Z zombie apocalypse at times. And sometimes you got to sort of wonder, like, is it real or not? So because you see things, you're like, is it real? So I went to the border at Eagle Pass, and I saw for myself in Texas, and I was like, okay, it's real. I'm like seeing this in real time. I actually posted the video like just live. I just flew there one day and just to see, hey, is this made up or real? And I'm just seeing people stream across the border, and I have to say, at least the people that I saw did not look friendly.
These are
people can look at my video and say, hey, these people look friendly. I don't look super friendly. So
these are people that Elon would not be the same man if he had to walk across the street and look these people in the eye. These are rough people. These are really rough people coming across. And I know rough people. And these are people that we don't want in our country. And, the caravans are coming in, and they're putting, and who's doing this are the heads of the countries. And you would be doing it, and so would I. And everyone would say, oh, what a terrible thing to say. The fact is, it's brilliant for them because they're taking all of their bad people, really bad people. And I hate to say this, the reason the numbers are much bigger than you would think is they're also taking their non-productive people. Now, these aren't people that will kill you. We have enough of them. But these are people that are non-productive. They are just not productive. I mean, for whatever reason, they're not workers or they don't want to work or whatever. And these countries are getting rid of non-productive people in the caravans in many cases. And they're also getting rid of their murderers and their drug dealers and the people that are really brutal people. And they're coming into our country at levels that have never been seen before. And I saw an ad just before I got on the air. I'm walking over here, and I saw an ad by Kamala saying how she is going to provide border security. Where has she been for 3.5 years? For 3.5 years, we have 20 million people for it. It's a terrible.
I think this, frankly, I think this is a fundamental existential issue for the United States.
Yeah, and I agree with
and
you.
if we have another 4 more years
major problem
of open borders, and it's going to be even worse with another 4 more years. It's going to be even worse than it's been for the past 3.5 years. I'm not sure we've got a country.
You don't have a country left. Elon, if they get in, you will have 50 to 60 million people from all over the world, not South America only. We think of South America, we think of Honduras and El Salvador, Guatemala, and Mexico, the 4. But it's not that. It's everywhere. They're coming in from everywhere. And I had to stay in Mexico.
I think this is a super important point. Like people, it's like, basically, when I went down there, I was like, well, where are people from? It's like almost no one was from Mexico.
No, Mexico less.
It's just the border. It's just the border with Mexico. But the people coming in, it's Earth. The rest of Earth.
There were people from Mexico
and America is only about 4 or 5% of the population of Earth. It would only take a few percent of the rest of Earth to overwhelm everything.
We're already overwhelmed, Elon. We're overwhelmed. You had to see the news tonight about New York, and I love that place. And what they're doing to it is horrible. What they're doing to it, and all the courts do is they try and focus on Trump. Okay, let's focus on Trump, who did nothing wrong. I complain about a rigged election. Elon, what's happened is unbelievable. You have from Africa, from the Congo, they're coming, from the Congo. And 22 people came in from the Congo recently, and they're murderers. And they drop them. They take them out of jails, which is very expensive, to maintain the jails, although they don't do too much maintaining, I can tell you. But they take them out of jails, prisons. They take them out, and they bring them to the United States. They deposit them in the United States and say, don't ever come back or you're going to be executed. And they don't want to come back, but they won't come back.
Sure.
But they're coming from Africa. They're coming from Asia. They're coming from the Middle East. They're coming from South America. They're coming from everywhere.
Earth,
and there are a lot of really bad ones.
He just listed all of the places.
It's just everywhere on Earth.
He's
saying
really
it's just
hammering
not possible for the
immigration.
United States to
He
absorb,
is. I'm glad it is.
everyone from
I mean,
Earth,
even the
or
Democrats are
even a
coming in
few
on it because
percent
they
of the
know
rest
they
of us.
have to.
It's just not possible.
Well,
This is
Elon, we're
something
going
that
to have
affects the poorest Americans
just to
yeah.
finish this up.
that
We're
are
going
in
to have
cities, not
the
necessarily
largest
rural area poor,
deportation in
but
history of this country,
Yeah.
and we have no choice.
oh, he
Otherwise,
just
we're
And
going to
said
have
the
a country.
largest in history.
What
and
they've
most
done to our
Americans, like
country. Think of
American
it.
poll, like
With
over
you know, in
50%,
Venezuela and
yeah,
in some of these
more
other countries,
are in
crime is
favor
down
of
50, 60,
deportation.
70, 80%.
Yes.
And you would be the same. You would have.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. Venezuela has not gotten rid of all of them. They've gotten rid of about 70% of their really bad people. Their jails are about 50%
And the Venezuelans,
put into the
my
United States. Same with
Chilean
other
buddy was
countries.
telling
Some
me
are
about them
30%,
being
some
an
are
issue there as
50%.
well.
They're all different. But the bottom line is
Yeah,
they're all going to be at
I think I
100%.
listened to
Why
that.
wouldn't you put 100% of it?
Yeah.
And
That was a
they're
Trump's
doing it
race.
right now while this third-rate phony candidate. Don't forget, I beat Biden. He failed in the debate miserably. And, you know, some people said, oh, gee, it's too bad. It's too bad he did so badly, or I did well in the debate. You know, the first night they said, wow, one of the people at CNN said that was the greatest debate performance I've ever witnessed. And then 2 days later, they didn't talk about that. They just said he was bad. But that's okay. That's the way I get treated, and I don't mind that at all. What I can tell you is this. We cannot have a Democrat. We cannot have her. She's incompetent. She's as bad as Biden in a different.
Yeah.
Look, she hasn't done an interview since this whole scam started. And say what you want. This was a coup. This was a coup of a president of the
What?
United States. He didn't want to leave, and they said we can do it the nice
Yeah.
way or we can do it the
No.
hard way.
Yeah, no,
He
I
said
mean,
the
they just took him
quiet part
out
out
back
loud.
behind the shed and basically shot
He
him.
just called that a
What
coup,
they did
by
with
the way.
this guy,
So
and I'm no
I
fan
agree
of
with
his,
him
and he was a
somewhat.
horrible president, the worst president in history. And one of the reasons he was so bad, first of all, the Israeli attack would have never happened. Russia would never have attacked Ukraine, and we'd have no inflation. And we wouldn't have had the Afghanistan mess, if you think of it.
Well,
and we wouldn't have had Afghanistan. But we think of it, you take a few of those events away, and we have a different world. We would also have inflation was caused by oil.
Yeah, no, I think
Monetary
you're making an excellent
phenomenon,
point here, which is
whatever,
that when other countries can, that are are thinking about invading or doing bad things, when they're thinking about that, they're thinking about, okay, what's the American president going to do, and do they fear the American president, or is there someone they do not respect and do not fear? And I think they would. They rightfully be. I mean, look at the footage with the assassination. They're like, okay, uh, President Trump is like, don't mess with me. I mean, that's like, whereas I think people are not going to be, and they obviously have not been at all intimidated by Biden, and they certainly will not be intimidated by Kamala. And you have to really think of that in the context of global security. That if the American president is someone that, like, evil dictators are scared of, that makes a huge difference to the security of the world.
So I had a good relationship with Putin, despite the Russia hoax that lasted for over 2 years. Just a hoax created by Hillary Clinton and Adam Shifty Schiff, some just bad people, just sick people, frankly. I mean, Schiff is a sick person. He's going to end up probably being a senator. It's hard to believe. The whole thing is hard to believe. But they put our country in danger with that stuff too. They actually, when they make up stories, and you have to fight your way out of it for a long time. But I know Putin very well. I got along with him very well. He respected me, and it's just one of those things. And we would talk a lot about Ukraine. It was the apple of his eye. But I said, don't ever do it. Don't ever do it. I shut down Nord Stream 2. That was the big oil pipeline, the biggest pipeline in the world going all over Europe. I shut it down. Biden came, and then they say, I loved Russia. I was a friend of Putin, and I loved Russia. No, he actually said to me one time, he said, if you're my friend, I'd hate to see you as an enemy. I shut down his pipeline, the biggest pipeline. They were looking at that to fund, and this pathetic president gets in there. And the first thing he did, one of the early things he did, is he shut down Keystone XL pipeline, which is our pipeline that would have employed 48,000 people, pipeline workers, shuts it down. That was, a massive job that Obama refused to allow. I allowed it in my first week.
because it was jobs and it moved oil. And by the way, in a much more environmentally friendly way. It's underground. It's not a truck that catches on fire or a train that catches on fire. But think of it. He shut down the XL pipeline, the Keystone XL pipeline.
Yeah.
He shuts that down and he approves the Russian pipeline.
Yeah, it doesn't make any
Right?
sense. It's inconsistent. Certainly but I mean, I think it's just worth emphasizing to listeners the immense importance of whether the United States president is intimidating or not intimidating, and how much that matters to global security.
Yeah.
Because
Trump's foreign policy
there's
is
some
what I
real
think he did
tough
the
characters
best.
out there, and if they don't think the American president is tough, they will do what they want to do.
I know every one of
and
them.
that puts it puts the whole world in danger.
Elon, I know every one
It's
of
a
them,
big
and I
deal.
know them well. I know
Yeah.
Putin. I know President Xi. I know Kim Jong-un of North Korea. I know every one of them. And let me tell you, people will say, oh, this is terrible. He said, I'm not saying anything good or bad. They're at the top of their game. They're tough. They're smart. They're vicious. And they're going to protect their country, whether they love their country. They probably do. It's just a different form of love, but they're going to protect their country. But these
Yeah.
are tough people at the top of their game. And when they see a Kamala or when they see Biden, Sleepy Joe, they can't even believe it. They can't believe this happened. All the stuff that you're seeing now, all the horror that you look at Israel, they're all waiting for an attack from Iran. Iran would not be attacking, believe me. When I was there, and I say it with respect because I think we would have been good with Iran. I don't want to do anything bad to Iran, but they knew not to mess around. Iran was broke because I told China, if you buy from Iran oil, it's all about the oil. That's where the money is. But if you buy oil from Iran, you're not going to do any business with the United States. And I meant it. And they said, we'll pass. They didn't buy oil. Other countries, likewise.
Sure.
You want to buy, you're not doing business with the United States. And they were at a point where they had no money for Hamas. They had no money for Hezbollah. They had no money for any of these instruments of terror. And it was amazing. In fact, there were articles when I was leaving, which is hard to believe, actually, especially when you look at what's happened to our country. Our country is so bad right now. It's such a different place. We were respected. Think of it. 4 years ago, we were so respected to a point where when I said don't buy oil, they didn't buy oil, but they had no money, and Israel would have never been attacked. Zero chance. And again, I said to Vladimir Putin, I said, don't do it. You can't do it, Vladimir. You do it, it's going to be a bad day. You cannot do it. And I told him things that what I do, and he said, no way. And I said, way. And it's the last time we ever had the conversation. He would never have done. I got along well with him. I hope to get along well with him again. Getting along well with them is a good thing, not a bad thing. I got along well with Kim Jong-un. When I met with President Obama just before entering, it's a sort of a ritual. And I sat down with him and we talked. It was supposed to be for a very short period of time. It turned out to be a long period of time. I said, what's the biggest problem? He said, North Korea. I had that problem worked out very quickly. It was nasty at the beginning with Rocket Man and all the different things.
Yeah.
But
it was a massive.
all of a sudden, I got a call.
With some epic tweets, by the way.
Yeah, they were
Very
epic.
impressive.
Everything. He said that he has a red button on his desk. I said, I have a red button on my desk too, but my red button is much bigger, and my red button works. And then I called him Little Rocket Man of Little Rocket Man. Anyway, here's the bottom line. All of a sudden, I got a call from him. And they said they want to meet. They want to meet me. And we met, as you remember, we met in Singapore. We met also in Vietnam. And I got along with them great. We were in no danger. But President Obama thought we were going to end up in a war, a nuclear war with him. And let me tell you, he's got a lot of nuclear stuff, too.
Exactly.
He's got plenty of nuclear. He can do plenty of damage.
It's because, people like Kim Jong-un, they respond to strength, not weakness.
Well,
and
he and I had a good relationship. Remember I met him and we walked onto his land. Nobody ever walked onto his land before. I walked onto. I wouldn't say. Let's bring up Secret Service again. I wouldn't say they were thrilled when I did that. I walked onto his land, and it was an amazing period. But we were not in danger with him because of me. I always say that we have enemies on the outside and we have enemies on the inside. We have some really bad people in our government. and people that are and controlling of the people. I mean, I'd mention names, but I really don't want to give them the credit. But we have some really bad, and I say they're more dangerous than Russia and China. If you have a
They have more
smart
capability
president,
to
a
be
president that gets it, we are not in danger from those countries because they need us and they need our help. I mean, we forced Obama, if you think about it, Obama and Biden and Bush to a certain extent, in all fairness, forced Russia and China together. And if you're a history student, the first thing you learn is you cannot let Russia and China align. But then they also got, if you take a look, Iran, and they have North Korea. That's, they call it the axis of evil. In the old days, you had the axis of evil. Here we have a modern day axis of evil. These are powerful countries, very heavy nuclear, which is the biggest threat. The biggest threat is not global warming, where the ocean's going to rise 1/8 of an inch over the next 400 years. And you'll have more oceanfront property, right? The biggest threat is not that. The biggest threat is nuclear warming, because we have 5 countries now that have significant nuclear power, and
You could hear
we
in
have
Elon's
to
voice.
not
He was just like, all right,
allow
I'm going to let that one go.
anything to happen with stupid people like Biden. Biden did something with Russia. There was no chance of him ever going in. And when I left, and then after I left, they started forming big armies on the border with Ukraine, right? And I looked at that, and I thought he was doing that because Putin's a good negotiator. I thought he was doing that to negotiate. But then Biden started saying such stupid things. For instance, he said that it can be a NATO country. Now, Russia, for as long as there's been NATO, has said we're never going to agree to that. And we go right up front and say that. And we did things and said things through this president with a low IQ, very low IQ.
Oh, my God.
He had a low IQ 30 years ago, by the way, but now he might not even have a IQ at all. There's nothing on the board that goes this low. He said things that were so stupid that war had zero chance of happening if I were there. Zero chance. He was saying everything the opposite. Everything the opposite. And it's so sad because many more people have been killed in Ukraine than you read about. You don't read about how bloody it is and how disastrous.
Sure.
Hey, look, just in the 2 armies, you lost 500,000 people. And Ukraine's having a hard time. Ukraine, I don't know if you saw the article recently, and it's true. You don't hear the true story. But if you think about it, Russia's gone, Russia defeated Germany with us, and they defeated Napoleon. They've been around a long time. They're a big fighting force.
Yeah. Sure.
And it's very unfair. And Ukraine now doesn't have enough men. They're now using young men and very old men to fight. And
it's awful.
We're in a very bad position.
The entire place.
And I'm not going to blame exclusively, but I can tell you I could have stopped that. And a smart president could have stopped that. It wouldn't have happened. But we had a man that actually made it more prevalent. It was so bad. The words that he was using, the stupid threats coming from a stupid face that he was using. I said, this guy's going to cause us a war. He's going to cause us. And let me tell you, it can lead to World War III. That can lead to World War III. The Middle East can lead to. We have numerous places that could end up in a World War III right now for no reason whatsoever.
I think you're right. I think people underrate the risk of World War III, and it's just when you're looking at the risk of global thermonuclear warfare, it's game over for humanity, and it's something that people have, I think, after the end of the Cold War, people have become complacent about, but they actually have forgotten that there are currently a lot of nuclear missiles that have targeting parameters for the United States from other countries.
And one of the things we're going to do is we're going to build an Iron Dome over it. Israel has it. We're going to have the best Iron Dome in the world. We need it, and we're going to make it all in the United States. But we're going to have protection, because it just takes one maniac to start something. We're going to have protection, and we're going to have. Why shouldn't we have an Iron Dome? Israel has one. Some other places have one that nobody even knows about, frankly.
A tiny country.
But Israel has it. We're going to have an Iron Dome. But with all of that being said, to me that's so important, the most important. But with all of that being said, the election's coming up, and the people want to hear about the economy and the fact that they can't buy groceries. because they don't have enough money to buy groceries. The inflation has killed them. Food prices are up 50, 60, even 100% in some cases. And this stupid administration allowed this to happen. And it's a shame. And that's the thing that people most care about, in my opinion. They care about the border a lot. And we discussed the border at great length. It's nice to have a forum like this where I can discuss something
I guess
at
thermonuclear
length.
war is a bigger
And by the way,
deal.
you think Biden could do this interview?
Borders
You think
matter if we
that
all
Kamala could do this interview? They would take a pass on
No,
you.
they cannot.
So they don't need Elon. They don't need Elon screaming out questions. It's pretty sad when you think that somebody that does this for a living can't answer a question or is afraid to do an interview. And in her case, with a very friendly interview, she's got all friendly interviewers. It's pretty sad.
Yes, absolutely.
But the big thing now is the economy, Elon.
yeah.
And as much as
Yeah.
I mean, I view nuclear as the single most important thing, but a lot of people don't. A lot of people don't understand that. But it doesn't have to. If I understand it, that's all you need. Because if I was president, you're not going to have that kind of a problem. But the thing that they really is making them angry is what Kamala and Biden have allowed to happen to the economy. It's a disaster with inflation. The inflation, it doesn't matter what you make. The inflation is eating you alive. If you're a worker or if you're just a middle income person, you can't afford. 4 years ago, 5 years ago, people were saving a lot of money. Today, they're using all their money and borrowing money just to live. It's a horrible thing that's happening. And we'll end that quickly.
Well, I think a lot of a lot of people just don't understand where inflation comes from. Inflation comes from government overspending because the checks never bounce when it's written by the government. So if the government spends far more than it brings in, that increases the money supply, and if the money supply increases faster than the rate of goods and services, that's inflation. So really, we need to have we need to reduce our government spending. And we need to re-examine. I think we need like a government efficiency commission to say like, hey, where are we spending money that's sensible? Where is it not sensible? And we need to live within our means. We're currently adding, I think, $1 trillion to the deficit roughly every 100 days.
That's right.
And the interest payments on the national debt have now exceeded the defense budget. It's on the order of $1 trillion.
It's interest.
And it keeps
I
growing.
rebuilt our military, largely rebuilt our military, did a great job on it, which was so important. We had jets, we had fighters that were, and bombers that were 70 years old. And we did a great job in that. Then we gave 85 billion of it back to Afghanistan, if you can believe it. We gave them 85 billion. They're one of the largest sellers of military equipment in the world. They're selling what we gave them. That was one of the most embarrassing days in the history of our country. But if you think about, let's go back to the economy. We have to bring energy prices down. Energy started at the price of gasoline. Now your cars don't require too much gasoline, so you have a good, and you do make a great product. I have to say, I have to be honest with you. That doesn't mean everybody should have an electric car, but these are minor details. But your product is incredible. But the gasoline, Elon, is the cost of energy. Not only gasoline, it's the cost of heating your house and cooling your house. That has to come down. It's gone up 100%, 150, and 200%, and that has to come down. When that comes down, and we're going to drill, baby, drill. They stopped drilling, and then they went back to drilling because they went back to the Trump policy. But if they won the day after they get into office, this country will go out of business because they're going to go to an energy policy that's not sustainable, wind and different things. You're not going to have anything. And I know you're a big fan of the AI, and I have to say that AI, and this is shocking to me, but AI requires twice the energy that the country already produces for everything. So you're going to have to build. We're going to have to build a lot of energy if our country will be competitive with China, because that's our primary competitor for this on the AI. You're going to need a lot of electricity. You're going to need tremendous electricity, like almost double what we produce now for the whole country, if you can believe it.
Sure. Well, just going, back to this, like this basic thing, that people try to make it sound complicated, but it's not. But inflation is caused by government overspending. Would you agree that that we need to take a look at government spending and have perhaps a government efficiency commission that just tries to make the spending sensible and so the country lives within its means, just like a
The
person does.
waste is incredible, and nobody negotiates prices. You used to have a lot of people making jets, and you end up with two companies, and they'll probably try and merge at some point. I mean, I went through
that
it.
was big. Trump
Like
just
Air
brought
Force,
up
just a thing like
murders,
Air Force
which is
One.
a
One of
thing
the
that I
first
care about a
documents
lot,
they asked me to sign, a
and no one
general
ever
said,
talks
"Sir,
about
would
it.
you please sign this document?" And what is it? Air Force One. That's with Boeing, which is basically two planes, two 747s. And the price was $5.7 billion for two planes. Now, now they're highly sophisticated.
That's insane.
They're even nicer than your plane, okay? But much more sophisticated. They're very, I won't say what's on it, but they got a lot of stuff on it. Anyway, but it's 5.7.
That's a crazy
It's
number.
a crazy number, but I said, I'm not going to pay 5.7. I'm not going to do it. I said, who made the deal? Obama and his people. I said, well, then I know the deal's no good. I'm not going to do it. And over a course of about 4 weeks, by my saying I'm not going to do it, I got the price reduced by $1.6 billion for the exact same plane, other than we had a nicer paint job, if you want to know the
We
truth.
had a
But for
nicer
the
paint
exact
job.
same
Marcy's gonna
plane,
say that.
I saved one. And I said to Boeing, man, you guys must make a lot of money if you can reduce the price by that. But now what I do hear is that they're going back to the Biden administration and wanting big cost overruns, you know, because they see these dopey suckers in there, and they'll end up getting some of the money back.
Dude,
But I saved it by $1.6 billion for the exact same plane. And you can now take that and
Dude, he's just
multiply that out
awesome.
times thousands of
He
other
is.
items.
He is.
Multiply it by
Yeah,
a
the
zillion,
numbers are
and
astronomical. I
He's
agree with you.
hilarious. He should have been a
Well,
comedian.
I mean, I think it would be great to just have a government efficiency commission that takes a look at these things and just ensures that the taxpayer money, the taxpayers' hard-earned money, is spent in a good way. And I'd be happy to help out on such a commission.
I'd love
if
it.
it were formed.
Well, you're the greatest cutter. I mean, I look at what you do. You walk in and you just say, you want to quit? They go on strike. I won't mention the name of the company, but they go on strike and you say, that's okay. You're all gone. You're all gone. So every one of you is gone, and you are the greatest. You would be very good. Oh, you would love it. But you know, if you look at Argentina,
Well, I'd be happy to
yeah,
help
by the way,
out.
congratulations. I
Yeah.
just looked at the number of people that are listening to you and I chat. We'll call it a chat. But congratulations.
Call it a
This is
chat.
very good. I mean, it's great. It's and you're an interesting character. You know, the new head of a place called Argentina, and he's a big, you know, he's great. And
Yeah.
he's a big MAGA fan, you know that. He ran on MAGA. And he took it to an extreme too. He ran on MAGA, and I hear he's doing really a terrific job. It's called Make Argentina Great Again. It worked out perfectly. He came in, he bought a lot of hats, he brought everything, but he's doing a big job. He really cut. And I'm hearing they're starting to do pretty well. Inflation's getting down. You know, they had like 2,000%. And they had inflation like not normal inflation. They had the real deal. But we're going to have that pretty soon. I think we have the worst inflation we've had in 100 years. They say it's 48
That's
years.
not true.
I don't believe it. I think we
Not
have the
even
worst.
close.
They don't include a lot of the items that should
Oh,
be included.
Well, maybe
you know.
by the old, but even then,
well,
inflation was
it's just
like
from
in the
government
20s,
overspending
like
and
50,
not
60
just
years
not
ago.
spending taxpayer money
Yeah.
The 70s was
effectively,
bad.
and having
70s was
just
bad. Interest rates were like
so many
25%,
departments
too.
you can't even name them all.
Yeah.
And what Milei is doing is, you know, he's cutting government spending. He's simplifying things. He's putting in regulations that make sense. And Argentina overnight is experiencing a giant improvement in
Talk about
prosperity.
El Salvador.
But it's also
Please
a
talk about
lesson
El
for the
Salvador.
United States, which is that
Dude, it'll talk smack.
Argentina used to be one of the most prosperous countries in the world. You know, in the 30s, 40s, and because of bad government policy, it ruined the country. And if you take
actually don't
Venezuela, for
agree with
example,
that
Venezuela
about
should be
Argentina.
incredibly
It's very
prosperous.
complicated.
They have
You know,
phenomenal
most Argentinians consider
reserves
themselves
of
European.
everything, oil, everything,
Yeah, they're
and
a whiter
it
country
should be
than
prosperous. But
the
if the
United
government's
States.
wrong,
They're like
it
90%
impoverishes the
full white.
people.
It's a bunch
And
of
so
Italians
I think we should
and
not be
Spaniards.
complacent in the
Chile
United
is
States
similar.
and thinking that and taking our prosperity for granted, because if with bad government policy, we can run the country into the ground. And that's just something people should bear in mind. Don't take prosperity for granted.
Well, think of education. So we're ranked at the bottom of every list of the top 40. We're ranked number 40, number 38. Norway, Switzerland, Sweden, different countries are ranked
We get beat
good.
out by
Actually,
like
China's
Croatia.
pretty close to the top.
I
They're
know.
top
Like,
6
we
or
get beat out by
7.
like Croatia,
But we're ranked
Czech
at the bottom,
Republic,
almost at the bottom,
Hungary,
38,
Dude, we're getting
39, 40.
stomped in by
In other words,
ex-Soviet
horrible. And yet we
nations.
spend more per
It's
pupil than
crazy.
any other
Like
country in the
poor
world. So we
ones.
spend more. And what I'm going to do, one of the first acts, and this is where I need an Elon Musk. I need somebody that has a lot of strength and courage and smarts. I want to close up Department of Education, move education back to the
Hell
states,
yes.
where
Let's
go.
where states like
Get rid of
Iowa,
it.
where states
End
like
it
Idaho,
now.
you know,
Axe.
not every state will do great because states that basically aren't doing good now. You look at Gavin Newsom, the governor of California.
Newscum?
He
Wait, did
he's
he do that on
terrible. He
purpose?
does a terrible
Newscum?
job. So he's not going to do great
Yes.
with education. But of the 50, I would bet that 35 would do great, and 15 of them, or 20 of them, will be as good as Norway. Norway is considered great. You can name them. I mean, they're so good. Some of these countries are so good. But if you go into some of these really well-run states, we have states that don't know what debt is. We have states that have low taxes, no debt, everybody working. They're really well-run.
Sure.
And maybe they have certain advantages in terms of location, in terms of, the land or the sun. The sun and the water and the whole thing. There are a lot of advantages that some people have. But if you move
That's so crazy.
education back to the 50, you'll have some that won't do well, but they'll actually be forced to do better because it'll be a pretty bad situation. But if you think about it, you'll have some of these states. I'll bet you'd have 30, 35 states. It'll be much better. And you know what it'll cost? Less than half what it is in Washington. And these people don't care about the students in these, faraway states, and it'd be unbelievable.
Yeah, I think you're making a good point in that if the states have to if each state has to compete against other states, then people will naturally move to states where it's better.
Well, like California, as we said, it's a badly run state. I could go through. I got so many friends that are in those states, even if they're Democrats. I hate to mention certain states, but Illinois is badly run with Pritzker. He's a real loser. But some of these places are just badly run. But it's almost going to force them to run better, and they won't do it good initially. But you're not going to do worse than you're doing right now. And I would say that the cost, you would cut your cost by 50 or 60%. And you'd have a little monitor. You want to make sure they're teaching English as an example. Give us a little English, right?
Sure.
Right?
Yeah. No, but I mean, to what? I mean, some of these governors are doing so badly. I mean, they got so many people moving out of their state. They should get U-Haul Salesman of the Year award because they're driving so much U-Haul.
It's actually amazing.
It's just people moving out.
Isn't it amazing to you as a businessman that they can even survive? Like Illinois. So many people are leaving, and you wonder, how do they survive? I mean, how do they survive? I saw where you left California, and you moved to Texas.
Yeah,
Texas does a great job.
Surviving?
But, I mean, I just wonder, how do these states survive when big businesses, a big oil company just left California, as you know, and they moved to Texas. How do these big states survive when they lose so many businesses? And their taxes are already really high. Their taxes are among the highest taxes. You almost wonder, how do they continue on? And in many cases, the governors don't do a good job, and they're crime-ridden places. You wonder, how do they continue to just go on? It's not a good situation.
I mean, I think the only thing that's going to
Illinois
force
wasn't that
some of these
bad
states to
when
change is if they
Tyler
risk
was a
bankruptcy
teenager,
and they're
he
not getting
says.
bailed out by the federal government.
Right. Well,
I don't know when you
You're
were.
That's the
gonna
only
have
thing that's
that.
going to get them to change.
You remember the area in California where they had that, where I guess
Wasn't that bad when I
somebody
was a
had sticky
teenager.
fingers and they stole
Are you
a
from
lot of
Illinois?
money.
Dude,
And
I live in Illinois.
they went
my
into a form of chapter.
Born and raised.
And it
brother.
was very
Why didn't I-
nasty
Yeah,
for a period of time, but now it's probably the
I
most
knew you
popular
lived
place in all of
Illinois. I didn't
California.
know you
So,
were from there.
so
Sorry.
at some point, something like
Yeah,
that may have
Southern
to happen.
Illinois.
But the problem is you can't penalize people that
Closer to
loan money to
Nashville
the
than
state
Chicago.
when you have incompetent people like
That's
a Pritzker. Look, the family didn't want him in the family business, and then he ends up being governor of Illinois. So you know what? Is he going to be? Is he going to be a great governor? And
They didn't want him in the
you have
family
people.
business,
I
and
could
then he's
name
the
every one of them.
governor.
I got to know
Oh,
every one of
God.
these,
I
and
wonder if
some are
that's
very
even
good, and
true.
some are just horrible.
Well, I think that I mean the larger point here, too, as you're saying, like a lot of people are concerned about the
Oh, you were
economy, a
just
lot of people
visiting.
are concerned about inflation,
Hard to know
and
that.
inflation is effectively a tax on people that save money,
Yeah.
and for people that are working day to day, it's just a form of taxation. And if we
Elon's
can
right about
solve
that.
the government spending problem, we'll solve the inflation problem, which means people will have a better standard of living, and
Yeah.
that's a really big
Well,
deal.
the people that got hurt worst are the people that did it the way they were taught to do it all through, their younger life and their young life and their whole life. The people that saved money and then they got no interest on their money and inflation destroyed them. And frankly, they were almost better off if they didn't do anything like that. I mean, those people have been absolutely decimated, and we're going to bring those people back and help those people. We've got to get the prices down. When I look at bacon costing 4 or 5 times more than it did a few years ago, when you look at some of the food products in grocery stores, people go, they can't believe it. They used to be able to buy a whole cart, and today, a lot of people just don't have the money. They go in and they
Trump
can't
is
buy
actually
anything.
talking about
They
real
look at
issues
Yeah.
for real,
it's
normal,
sticker
ordinary
shock. They
people.
call it sticker shock.
Yeah,
right?
The Democrats
seriously.
don't.
I think it really just comes,
They
like I said, I
I
think it
don't
just comes
see
down
it,
to,
at least.
to really, I guess, two things, which is that if you solve government overspending, you solve inflation, which improves living
Right.
standards of the average person, and then if you deregulate, like have sensible regulations, so because a lot of the regulations
Yes.
are
Thank
nonsensical
you. And the
cause
Fed, Heather.
the cost to
Thank you.
be extreme for no reason. But unless you've got effective deregulation, like Reagan did a great job on deregulation in the 80s, but it's been 40 years since we had
That's right.
anyone really. I mean, during your administration, we made some progress, but I think there's an opportunity to make, I think, radical progress with sensible regulation. And if
Well, Elon,
those two things, yeah, those are the big deals.
we set a record. We did more deregulation
Sam.
and more restrictions on all of the
sorry.
different
I was-
businesses than any other president.
I'm wondering
Remember,
who
I
these
had the
people are
rule
in the
for every one
comments.
we put in, you have to get rid of 10 or 12. And we did
Yeah.
radical cuts on all of that, and a lot of that's being put back by this
Sorry for blowing up
administration.
your spot.
And we did
Heather.
radical cuts on things that weren't necessary. But we were all set. We had the best economy ever, maybe in the world. And then what happened is COVID came in, and we had to focus on that, and nobody knew what it was. And I always say I got good marks on economy, good marks on military. We knocked out ISIS. We did so many different things. We rebuilt. But, I never got the credit that we really deserved on what we did with COVID. We never got the credit. But had that not happened, a gift from China, from Wuhan, came in from Wuhan, the Wuhan labs, and I always said it, and it turned out to be right. But had that not happened, we were set to start reducing debt. We were going to reduce taxes further. I gave the largest tax cuts, and we were going to reduce taxes still further for middle-income people, not only businesses. But we did it for businesses because they're the ones that's why we had the great job numbers. But we were set to really start reducing debt. And, we're sitting on the biggest pile of liquid gold anywhere in the world, bigger than Saudi Arabia, bigger than Russia. And we were going to drill, and we were going to make so much money. We were going to supply Europe with oil. I had stopped the Russian pipeline, and we were going to supply them with oil and gas. We were going to make a fortune. And then the COVID came in, and we really had to divert. Then what happened is when they came in, we kept a lot of businesses alive. If I didn't do what we did, we would have had a 1929 type depression. But the problem is when Biden came in, he got trillions of dollars and just started spending it stupidly. You didn't need it anymore. We got over that bad period where everybody was dying and feeling, it was just not a good period. Interestingly, during his administration, many more people died during his administration of COVID than during my administration, and we really got the brunt of it. But people don't realize more people died during his administration than ours. But it diverted us from doing what I wanted to do. But we had the greatest for, almost 3 years. We had the great, and you know that probably better than anybody. So many of your friends said to me, the best years we've ever had in business were during the Trump years, and also said that African American, Hispanic American were so incredible. They were having the best. Asian American women, men, young people without a diploma, young people that graduated from the best colleges.
Well, all but one.
From MIT, from the Wharton School, from all of the great colleges, Harvard. They were doing better, and people without a diploma were doing better, and everybody was happy. And then COVID came, and we had the problem is they spent trillions and trillions of dollars. They wasted. They shouldn't have taken any money, and we wouldn't be having inflation right now, which is killing our country.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I should probably say something about maybe my views on climate change and oil and gas, because I think I'm probably
Elon's going lit
different
here.
from what most people would assume. Because my views are actually pretty, I think, moderate in this regard, which is that I don't think we should vilify the oil and gas industry and the people that have worked very hard in those industries to provide the necessary energy to support the economy. And if we were to stop using oil and gas right now, we would all be starving, and the economy would collapse. So it's I don't think it's right to sort of vilify the oil and gas industry, and the world has a certain demand for oil and gas, and it's probably better if the United States provides that than some other countries. And it would help with prosperity in the U.S. And at the same time, obviously, my view is like we do over time want to move to a sustainable energy economy, because eventually you do run out of. I mean, you run out of oil and gas. It's not there for. It's not infinite. And there is some risk. I think it's not the risk is not as high as
I'm not sure if that's true, but I've seen
a lot of
some
people
stuff.
say it is with respect to global warming. But I think if you just keep increasing the parts per million in the atmosphere long enough, eventually it actually simply gets uncomfortable to breathe. People don't realize this. If you go past 1,000 parts per million of CO2, you start getting headaches and nausea.
Well, how much are we at?
So we're now in the sort of 400 range. We're adding, I think, about roughly 2 parts per million per year. So I mean, it still gives us. So what it means is like we still have quite a bit of time, but so there's not like we don't need to rush, and we don't need to stop farmers from farming or prevent people from having steaks or basic stuff like that. Like you can leave the farmers alone.
I agree. How crazy is that? Where
I mean,
you have farmers that are not allowed to farm anymore and have to get rid of their cattle, and the whole world is a little crazy. But it's largely taken its lead from us. I just say though, I've heard in terms of the fossil fuel, because even to create your electric car and create the electricity needed for the electric
nuclear.
car. Fossil fuel is what really creates that at the generating plants. And,
don't have
so you
nuclear
sort of
because
can't
of
get away
women
from it at this moment. I mean,
Generally.
someday you might
Sorry,
be
Heather.
able to. But I do hear we have anywhere from
And
100
Kate,
to
who's not
500
here,
years
but
left.
she's the only other woman
Much
I
of
know
it
that
hasn't
watches
even been
this show.
found yet.
Yeah.
But there are tremendous, like Anwar. I got Anwar in Alaska approved. Ronald Reagan couldn't do it. Nobody could do it. Everybody tried. Nobody could do it. I got it approved. The first thing that Biden did was unimprove it, to get rid of it. He ended it. His secretary went in and she ended it. And what a disgrace. That's Anwar. That's bigger, or they think it could be bigger than Saudi Arabia in Alaska. Could be bigger than Saudi Arabia. But they went in and they terminated it. And I'll get it going very quickly, because not only is it big for Alaska, I mean, you talk about economic development, that for the United States, I mean, that is, they say bigger than Saudi Arabia or the same size, and pure, really good stuff. And, they end it. So I think we have, perhaps hundreds of years left. Nobody really knows. But during that time, something will come around that will be very good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and my estimate would be, a little
What
more
do you mean stuff a dog
aggressive
full
than
of
that. But
fossil
it's not the sort of like we're all going to die in 5 years stuff. That's obviously BS. But I mean, my view is like if you just look at sort of the parts per million that increments every year, you get sort of 2 or 3 parts per million every year of CO2. I mean, I think some of that it's problematic if it accelerates, if you start going from 2 or 3 to say 5, and then there may be some situations where you get just a step change increase in the CO2.
Has other effects.
And I think we don't want to get too close to 1,000 ppm, because like that's actually makes it uncomfortable to breathe. Like just existing in 1,000 ppm CO2 is uncomfortable. That's like
I never looked into the climate
like an
stuff.
industrial hazard.
So I literally don't know anything.
So
it's plant food, right?
So
it's like
that's actually, you start getting headaches and stuff. So it's even without global warming, it's not comfortable to live. So you don't want to get too close to that. But I mean, I think we've got. I think we want to just move over and if I don't know, 50 to 100 years from now, we're I don't know, mostly sustainable. I think that'll probably be okay.
Carbon monoxide's weird.
So it's not like the house is on fire immediately, but I think it is something we need to move towards.
Yeah, I don't know what he's talking about.
That's Musk.
On balance,
he's been on
it's probably better to move.
And we've been on his.
They're faster than slower.
He's a good dude.
But like I said, without vilifying the oil and gas industry, and without causing hardship in the short term, I think this can be done.
He's really good with memes.
Without people can still have a stake, and they can still drive gasoline cars. It's okay. It's like it's not. I don't think we should vilify people for it, but I think we should just generally lean in the direction of sustainability. I actually think solar is going to be a majority of Earth's energy generation in the future, and it's certainly trending that way.
It's a lot more direct.
And so you get the solar power, combine that with batteries,
because
obviously the sun doesn't shine at night, and then you use that to charge the electric cars.
We should be making
and you have a long-term sustainable solution.
Yeah.
And that's what Tesla's trying to move things towards, and I think we've made a lot of progress in that regard. But when you look at our cars, we don't believe that environmentalism, that caring about the environment should mean that you have to suffer. So we make sure that our cars are beautiful, that they drive well, that they're fast, they're sexy. I mean, they're cool. In fact, literally, I mean, this sexy joke, Model S, Model 3, Model X, and Y spells out sexy. It's probably the most expensive joke out there. But I don't know, I like cheesy humor, so
dude.
But I'm a big fan of let's have an inspiring future, and let's work towards a better future, and we can do so without demonizing people.
I'm okay. It's very interesting. You use the word global warming, and today they use the word climate change because you have some places that go up and stuff. So they were getting themselves in a little trouble with the word global warming because not every place is warming. Some places are going the opposite direction. But I'm sort of waiting for you to come up with solar panels on the roofs of your cars and on the trunks of the cars.
Battery tech is huge.
It just seems like something that at some point you will come up with.
Elon
I'm sure
Musk talks
you'll be the
about that
first.
quite a bit.
But it would seem that a solar panel on the roofs, on flat surfaces,
storage of energy
surfaces might be good.
At
least in certain areas of the country where you have the world. Where you have the sun, but I would think, and I have no idea because that's not my world, but I would think that this would be something that would be interesting. But the one thing that I don't understand is that people talk about global warming or they talk about climate change,
trying to use solar
but they never talk about nuclear warming. And to me, that's an immediate problem because you have, as I said, 5 countries where you have major nuclear and probably some others are getting there, and that's very dangerous. That's where you need a strong American president because you don't want to have this proliferation. But you have 5 countries and getting more. China is much less than us right now, but they're going to catch us sooner than people think. They're way lower. Russia and us are number 1, and I mean, we're sort of tied. And China is far behind, but they're developing at a level that you're not surprised to hear very fast. They'll end up catching up. Maybe even surpassing. But to me, the biggest problem is not climate change. It's not, and everything's a problem, but it's degrees. To me, the big problem is the nuclear power. The power of nuclear is so great.
Go.
And when I talk about I'll prevent World War III, I will. But the truth is that You have to, because this is no longer army tanks going back and forth and shooting at each other. This is a level of destruction and power that nobody's ever seen before.
Yeah, and actually, there's the bad side of nuclear, which is a nuclear war, very bad side. But there's also, I think, nuclear electricity generation is underrated.
You're right.
Yes.
And it's actually, people
the
have this
problem
fear
is
of nuclear electricity
sustainability in a general
generation,
sense,
but it's
not in
actually
a
one of the safest
necessarily
forms
just
of
energy.
electricity generation. It's just a huge misunderstanding. And if you look at the injuries and deaths, caused by, say, I mean, I'm not going to try to pick on coal mining, but just any kind of mining operation. And there's a certain number of injuries and deaths per year. And you compare that to nuclear. Nuclear is actually way better. So it's underrated as an electricity source, and I think it's something that's worth reconsidering. But there's so much regulation that people can't get it done. So that
maybe they'll have to change the name. The name is it's a rough name. There are some areas like when you see what happened in
good bad branding. The
we'll have to
branding
rebrand it. We'll have to give it a good name. We'll name it after you or something.
Just like they named carbon monoxide.
No, it has
natural
it has a
gas.
branding problem. When you see what happened,
it does have a branding problem.
When you see what happened in Japan, where they say you won't be able to go on the land for about 3,000 years. Did you ever see that? And in Russia, where they had the problem, where they there's a lot of bad things happened, and they have a problem. And they say that
that's in Ukraine.
In 2,000 years, people will
Soviet
start to
Union.
occupy the land again. You realize it's pretty bad.
No,
but,
that's not true.
But there's
Well, is it
you're
part
right
of
about
Russia
it.
now?
It's actually not that bad. So like after
good
Fukushima
point.
happened in Japan, like people were asking me in
I
California.
actually don't know where it's at.
Are we worried about like a
Forgot.
nuclear
It's in.
cloud
I
coming
don't
from
know
Japan?
where
I'm
in
like, no,
Ukraine
that's
it is,
crazy.
but I know
it's
that
actually it's not
the-
even dangerous in
the place
Fukushima.
they're
I actually
talking
flew
about, I
there
forget the name of
and
it, is in
and
Ukraine.
ate locally grown vegetables on TV to prove it. And I donated a solar water treatment, a solar powered system for a water
Chernobyl.
treatment
I
plant.
fucking knew that.
And
Yeah, but you haven't
because the
been
danger
feeling
is
so
just
well lately, and I'm worried about it.
no, but I mean,
I'm
it's
only
just,
kidding.
it's fine, It's like Hiroshima and Nagasaki were bombed, but now they're like full cities again. So
Right.
it's
Well, that's
really
great.
not
That's
something
great.
that
That's great.
No,
so it's
Chernobyl's
it's
north
not as
of
scary as
Kiev.
people think, basically.
Yeah.
But let's see.
Chernobyl's what?
I mean, there's some
North
other
of
topics we
Kiev.
should touch on.
Okay.
Like lawfare. I think
Well,
we need to be concerned about.
what they've done to
Um,
this country.
obviously,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, we just won the big
I mean,
case in Florida. This was a Biden administration did something that's never been done in this country, and that's go after their political opponent, me, with this nonsense and just nonsense. And the big case in Florida we won, but they always pick a judge and a jury, and they use local DAs, they use the local attorney generals, like Fani, Fani, spelled Fani, Fani. And it's all a big hoax, and it's all run from there. Like in Manhattan, one of the top people from the Justice Department went in, ran Manhattan, ran the state. The Letitia James deal was run by a person from the Department of Justice, Biden. They've never done this before, and they set up a very bad precedent. It's called lawfare, warfare. It's a terrible thing, and never happened in our country. It does happen in banana republics and third world countries, but it's never happened. And the incredible thing is it actually drove my numbers up because people see, fortunately I have a platform like you, or, in all fairness, like a conversation like this, where I can talk about it and people understand. I mean, you fight for election integrity, and you end up getting indicted because you're fighting for election integrity. And when the day comes that you can't fight for election integrity, you don't have a country anymore. So what happens? What happens
just
is
called
they went after
Elon
their
a
political opponent,
fucking
me.
idiot on
Now Biden's,
because of
close
his
to
space with
vegetable
Trump.
stage, in my opinion. Okay, I looked at him today on the beach,
But
and I said, why
dude,
would anybody
how are you
allow
gonna call
him?
this guy an
The
idiot?
guy could barely walk.
Yeah,
Why
that
would
doesn't
anybody
insult him in
allow
other
him?
ways. He's
Does
obviously
he have
not
a
an idiot.
political advisor that thinks
Maybe
this looks
his
good?
interview skills
He
is
thinks
not
this
the
looks good
best,
because
or whatever he's trying
it
to
looks
get
so
at.
bad, and it's
But he runs like
ridiculous.
17
I mean,
companies
and
and
he's
trying to
been
go to
doing that for a
fucking
long time.
Mars,
He
dude.
can't lift the
So
chair.
Yeah,
The
and
chair
he
weighs
reads
about 3
like he
ounces.
has
It's
no
meant for
degrees,
children
or I don't
and
know, maybe
old
he has,
people to
I don't
lift.
think he even has a
And
bachelor's.
he can't
reads
lift
like
it. The whole thing is
well,
crazy.
he's clearly. Not, I mean,
like
he's clearly like we
physics
just don't
books.
have
The
a
guy's
president.
You
Right
don't
now,
have a
which is obviously
president,
the
and
case.
she's going to be worse than him because she is a San Francisco liberal who destroyed San
You're a New
Francisco,
York
and then as
liberal. What are you
Attorney
talking about?
General, she destroyed
He's got a
California.
bachelor's
You
in
talk about
physics
location,
and a
and we're
bachelor's
talking
in
about the sun
economics.
and the water and all. There's nothing better than California. She has destroyed that. She was the original DA. She was the original in San Francisco. She was the original Attorney General in California. What she has done to California is, well, you know better than I do. You just left California for a lot of those reasons. And what she's done with crime, with cashless bail, where you kill somebody. I mean, we have states there you kill somebody and they let you out right away. I mean, you don't have to even put up, and then they never find the people unless they kill again, and then they let them out again. Our country is becoming a very dangerous place, and she is a radical left San Francisco liberal, and now she's trying to protect. Now she's looking like she wants to be more Trump than Trump, if that's possible. I don't think it's possible, but she wants to be more Trump than Trump.
Yeah.
I want a wall.
I think that's,
you know, she
yeah.
wants to release all the
Yeah.
prisoners that are in detention, and some of these guys are really bad.
Right.
That just came
Yeah, I
out
just saw
today.
that.
She
Yeah.
doesn't want to build the wall, even though the walls work. Walls and wheels. You know, in your business, everything you do is obsolete, almost, well, not the tunnels, but everything is obsolete. Even your rocket ships, they're like a month later, they're obsolete. You find a better way to. The only thing that's not obsolete is a wall and a wheel. And the wall, you know, I built hundreds of miles of wall, and that's why we had such good numbers. I was going to add 200 miles. We bought it. We could have flipped it up in 3 weeks, and they sold it for 5 cents on the dollar. That meant, I said, wow, that means that they actually do want to have open borders.
Yeah,
She wants to have open borders.
He says wall,
and now
he's
she's
really
going
talking
like
about,
she's
it's
tough
not
on
like
the border.
literally just a wall.
It's such a lie.
Yeah, this is simply not true. This is simply not
no,
true.
and everybody knows
it's
it's
simply
not true. It's a disgrace that she
Yeah.
can say it.
No, I mean, obviously, what's happening sort of overnight is they're rewriting history and making Kamala sound like a moderate when in fact she is far left, like far left.
Worse than Bernie Sanders. She is considered more liberal by far than Bernie Sanders. She's a radical left lunatic, and if she's going to be our president, very quickly, you're not going to have a country anymore. And she'll go back to all of the things that she believes in. She believes in defunding the police. She believes in no fracking, zero. Now all of a sudden she's saying, no, I really want to see fracking. If they got in, the day she got in, she'll end fracking. And by the way, if people didn't think that, the lunatics that really believe in that, they won't vote for her. You know, like the Palestinians and Israel. She is so anti-Israel, and she's bad for both. Biden actually did something that was impossible. Both sides hate him, you know, both sides. That was a hard thing to do, unification.
Yeah, no. I mean, Netanyahu came to give a talk to a joint Senate and House sitting, and I was there, and Kamala stood him up. You know, what does that say?
Yeah, that is a rare.
I think it's highly disrespectful.
I don't like either.
And I say, if you're a Jewish person or if you believe
like
in Israel, if you're a person that is
Hamas,
very pro-Israel, if you vote for her, it's worse than Biden. And Biden was bad. But if you vote for her, you ought to have your head examined.
Doesn't mean they should.
And you see tonight, I mean, as we're doing this, I'm seeing reports coming that they expect an attack tonight or tomorrow from hundreds and maybe thousands of rockets. You know, their Iron Dome, as they call it, as we all call it, but their shield that they build, that can be swamped. We'll use the term that's appropriate, swamped. But they swamp it by shooting enough missiles. You know this better than anybody. By shooting enough missiles, they can't defend themselves. You know, they just obliterate the whole place. And that's what some people think they're looking to do. And we have no leadership. There's no respect for the United States of America with these people. And I'm telling you, she'll be worse than him because she's a believer in being radical left, and he wasn't.
I think you're right. I mean, it's important for the public that may be listening to this to look at Kamala's track record, before the last month, and say, is that a track record you agree with? And I think if you're an independent moderate, you definitely would not agree with it, because it is her behavior has been far left, and we're seeing just an overnight propaganda attempt to rewrite history and make it sound like Kamala's moderate when she in fact is not moderate.
Well, her running mate, approved, signed into legislation, tampons in boys' bathrooms. Okay. Now, that's all I have to hear. Tampons in boys' bathrooms. And that means she believes in that too. I mean, she picked this guy because he was the closest to her. A lot of people thought she'd pick sort of the opposite, but she picked an anti-Israel radical left person. But she is far worse, they say, than Bernie Sanders. If we have her as a president, if we have a Democrat at this moment as the president, I don't think our country can survive.
I think it's a massive. I think we're in massive trouble, frankly, with the Kamala administration, and that's my honest opinion. I
don't really know what she stands for. Like,
I think really it's essential that you win for the good of the country for this election, and I'm just stating my opinion. Now, you know, you may have seen this, but I got a letter from the EU Commission, like saying, you know, to not have disinformation on during this discussion that we're having, like, and you know, there's a lot of attempts to do censorship and to force censorship even on Americans from other countries, and you know, what do you think about that?
Well, I know the European Union very well. They take great advantage of the United States in trade, as you know. We, through a different forum, NATO, we protect them. And yet, if you build a car in the United States, you can't sell it in Europe. You just can't sell it. It's impossible. The same thing with our farmers. Our farmers find it very difficult to do business. You know, we have a deficit with them of $250 billion, which people don't know. It sounds so nice, the European Union, but let me tell you, they're not as tough as China, but they're bad. And I let them know it. And that's probably why they notified you. No, they don't treat our country well. We defend them, you know, with Ukraine. So we're in for 250 billion, and they're in for about 71 billion, and they have the same size. If you add up the European nations that, you know, in terms of an economy, it's about the same size when you say as us. And they're they're in much greater risk. They're right there. We have an ocean separating us from, in this case, the enemy would be Russia. It used to be for the Soviet Union, but let's assume they're close enough. And what happens is they're in for 70-something million. I think even less than that, billion. And we're in for about 250 billion, and it could be a lot higher than that. And I say, why aren't you going to equalize? Why aren't they paying what we're paying? And they're in much more, you know, it's much more important for them because of the fact that, you know, they're right near there. I mean, they're all sort of in that location. We're not. But they should, and I did it with NATO. There were only 7 countries that were paid up in NATO out of 28 at the time. And the United States was the United States was subsidizing NATO, tremendously subsidizing NATO. And I said, I went in and I said, you got to pay up. If you don't pay up, we're not going to defend you any longer. I took a lot of heat, but you know what happened? Billions and billions of dollars came flowing in.
Billions.
And you know. I think a lot of the public isn't aware of the fact that the United States pays a disproportionate share of the NATO expenses.
And then we get taken advantage of on trade. So think about it.
Yeah, well, I mean, the point of NATO is defending Europe, and it's you know, it's like, then okay, well, why is the United States paying disproportionately more to defend Europe than Europe? That doesn't make sense. That's unfair.
They used to be our colony,
and that is an appropriate thing to address.
Well, you know, when you talk about cost cutting and savings and everything else, I mean, honestly, look, there's nobody that feels worse about the Ukraine situation than I do, because I know it would have never happened. I know Zelensky. He was very honorable to me, because when they went with the Russia hoax and they said I had a phone call with him, he said it was a perfect phone call. It was a great phone call. He could have grandstanded and, you know, said,
all right, dude, I gotta get out of here.
He was very threatening. He said, no, it was a very nice phone call. I called him up to congratulate him on his win. And you end up getting impeached because these people are lunatics.
It's been long enough.
You know, I was talking about the difference from the people within and the enemies on the outside. In many cases, the people from within